721. The messenger arrives, a big fire. Holy Lord Tianxi, Black and White Academy. The facts were just as you expected. When the Celestial Tin Holy Court learned of this matter, they only sent an envoy at the 9th level of Sacrificial Dao to investigate. After the envoy arrived, you directly imprisoned Ma Zan, and you had a Dao body disguise as him to meet the envoy. This envoy seemed to have an old acquaintance with the Wang family's ancestor, and during the banquet, he kept hinting to Ma Zan that if he handed over the exquisite immortal gourd, the matter could be dropped. But the exquisite immortal gourd was already in your hands. How could you possibly hand it over? This wasn't to say that you were embezzling ill-gotten gains. Moreover, the exquisite immortal gourd itself didn't belong to the Wang family, it was snatched by the Wang family's ancestor. The Wang family had declined, and only you were worthy of such a treasure. Seeing that Ma Zan was being uncooperative, the envoy became somewhat displeased and began to bring up the holy court behind him, intending to assert his authority. But your Dao body wouldn't humor him, he directly beat him up, infuriating the envoy, who left in a huff. The Wang family head, seeing this scene, laughed from the side, City Lord Ma, you are incredibly audacious. How dare you beat a holy court envoy? This time, you're dead for sure. Your Dao body sneered, whether I die or not, I don't know, but someone is about to die right now. With that, your Dao body, under the horrified gaze of the Wang family head, slammed his head into his chest with a single palm strike. After returning, your Dao body once again dragged Ma Zan out and crushed him to death. Anyway, Yang'an Prefecture had been pretty much ruined by you, no, by Ma Zan, so it was time to run away. Before leaving, you didn't forget to set a big fire in the city lord's mansion. Ma Zan committed numerous evil deeds, so it's quite reasonable for his lair to catch fire, right? It was just that this fire was a bit clever, burning away all traces related to you. Subsequently, your main body collected all Dao bodies and secluded himself in a small city in the neighboring Wanning Prefecture. Half a month later, just when you thought everything was safe and sound, a powerful escape light suddenly appeared above the small city, almost causing the space-time of the small city to freeze. This seemed to be another Other Shore Realm incarnation. You were greatly surprised, but the newcomer seemed to bear no ill will towards you, as your movements were not affected in any way. You came before the light and shadow and bowed, may I ask which senior has graced us with their presence? The light and shadow dispersed, revealing a dignified middle-aged man in imperial robes. You are Tianxi Saint Lord. Your eyes were filled with disbelief. Tianxi Saint Lord was the strongest person in the Celestial Tin Holy Court, not a weakling even among the Other Shore Realm, and he actually came personally to find you. Tianxi Saint Lord scrutinized you for a moment, then nodded in affirmation, indeed, your talent is astonishing. It seems this time, my quota will not be wasted. Subsequently, Tianxi Saint Lord waved his large sleeve and took you to a certain place. Along the way, you learned that he had come this time to recommend you to the strongest force in the surrounding several states, the Black-White Academy. You had long heard of the Black-White Academy. It was rumored to be a holy land of cultivation that many yearned for. Even Tianxi Saint Lord had once studied at the Black-White Academy. You had no idea how to enter the Black-White Academy. Because it did not recruit disciples through an examination system, but rather through a recommendation system. Without connections and background, it was impossible to get in. You never expected that Tianxi Saint Lord, who you had never met, would actually be willing to be your recommender. This was like a pie falling from the sky and hitting you. 722. Join Yangmai, the master of Tiangong Peak. Where is the redemption point low? After understanding the cultivation philosophies of the two families, joy welled up in your heart. Many aspects within them could be referenced for your self-created life and death realm. Your life and death realm primarily cultivates epic power and world-destroying power. Although different from the power of yin and yang, the methods to perfectly unleash their full potential are largely similar. You asked Fang Yan if it was possible to cultivate both powers concurrently. He said it was naturally possible. However, you would have to join the Palace Master's lineage. The Palace Master's lineage is like the yin and yang dividing line, specifically balancing the forces of the yin vein and yang vein. The Palace Master's lineage holds immense power, and only 5 elite disciples from each of the yin vein and yang vein are chosen every 10,000 years, making the competition extremely fierce. If you wished to enter, the difficulty would be considerable. You nodded thoughtfully. As long as there was a path, everything was manageable. You still had great faith in your own efforts. Fang Yan led you around the main peak for half a day before returning to the main hall. Tianqi Saint Lord had already disappeared, leaving only Black-White Palace Master. Black-White Palace Master asked you which lineage you wished to join. You said you wanted to join the Yang vein. Black-White Palace Master nodded and instructed Fang Yan to guide you through the relevant procedures. The Yang vein has 9,800 peaks, among which only 108 are inner court peaks. And you chose the Celestial Peak among them. The Celestial Peak Lord was a slightly plump, amiable old man, and also a seasoned half-step other shore realm expert. Since it was the Palace Master's order, he quickly issued your identity token and arranged your living quarters. In the following days, you familiarized yourself with the environment on Celestial Peak and also met a few inner court disciples. However, when they heard that you were recommended by Tianqi Saint Lord, their attitudes became noticeably colder. You found this strange. Tianqi Saint Lord was not a weakling even among other shore realm cultivators. Upon hearing his name, everyone's attitude should have been more enthusiastic. Why was it like this? Celestial Peak Lord said with a chuckle, Tianqi Saint Lord is considered a heroic lord of his epoch. He once defeated foreign races and turned the tide, allowing the human race of Tianqi Holy State to recover its origin qi. But in the last few billion years, he has somewhat overused the people's resources and engaged in excessive militarism. Internally, he constructed various grand projects, and externally, he frequently launched wars, so his public reputation has rapidly deteriorated. Many disciples on Celestial Peak are from areas adjacent to Tianqi Holy State, and naturally harbor hostility towards Tianqi Saint Lord. Yang'an Prefecture, where you were previously located, was just a remote area of Tianqi Holy State, and you did not know much about the Celestial Tin Holy Court or even Tianqi Saint Lord. You hadn't expected such a thing. Indeed, it is better to act kindly towards others and seek wealth peacefully, otherwise, one might be cursed behind their back. A person of great virtue and kindness like you was clearly suffering an undeserved calamity this time. Since Tianqi Saint Lord's reputation was poor, you no longer sought to make friends everywhere, but instead began to cultivate in seclusion. 15 years passed in a blink of an eye. The primordial qi within your body once again surged several times over its original foundation. And in these 15 years, you had almost thoroughly comprehended hundreds of the main cultivation technique of the Yang vein. Thorough comprehension here, of course, did not mean cultivating all of them to the perfection realm. Rather, it meant absorbing their cultivation philosophies and integrating them into the Immortal Tao system, increasing your own foundation. Furthermore, in these 15 years, your application of primordial qi had reached a higher level, allowing you to easily create spring spirits of the heavenly spring secret realm. Of course, you also did not give up on inquiring about Divine Soul Defensive top-tier Vault of Heaven treasure. Black-White Academy has countless experts, and treasures are not uncommon. You had already inquired about more than a dozen, but they all had owners, making them difficult to obtain. To your surprise, Celestial Peak Lord also possessed a related treasure. Its name was the Soul-Suppressing Bell, capable of both offense and defense, and quite famous. You now regularly sent your Tao body to approach Celestial Peak Lord, hoping to borrow it when you underwent the lightning calamity. As for seizing it, you had never considered that. Firstly, you were not his opponent, and secondly, he had been good to you. You were not the kind of person who forgets righteousness for gain. Therefore, you would not seize his treasure. In addition to the above gains, you also met the Peak Lord of Heavenly Works Peak in the inner court of Black-White Academy. The Heavenly Works Peak Lord was the strongest artifact forging Grand Master in Black-White Academy, having even forged primordial spirit treasure. With his help, your Hongmeng Dao Palace advancing to a top-tier Vault of Heaven treasure would be as easy as turning your hand. However, he currently had several large orders. Within 1,000 years, he would have no free time to forge treasures for others. Even if he had time, with your financial resources and strength, you wouldn't even be able to get on his waiting list. So you ultimately decided to forge it yourself. To forge a top-tier Vault of Heaven treasure, there were two major difficulties. One was engraving a sufficient number of divine restriction, and the other was perfectly integrating stronger materials. The Hongmeng Dao Palace itself possessed the ability to devour, so you only needed to assist. In terms of divine restriction, at least 360 needed to be engraved. This point had already been achieved. In fact, the divine restriction currently possessed by the Hongmeng Dao Palace had already reached 500. As for materials, it was much more difficult. You now found it very difficult to obtain top-tier Vault of Heaven treasure or top-tier materials. If you relied on the Hongmeng Dao Palace to devour, even devouring more high-tier Vault of Heaven treasure would make it difficult to advance. You had sent out all your Dao body. On one hand, they performed academy tasks to accumulate points in exchange for materials. On the other hand, they inquired about relevant information. These academy points were similar in use to the sect contribution points you had encountered before, and could be used at Treasure Peak to exchange for various divine medicines, precious ores, spiritual materials, rare treasures, and even cultivation technique secret manual. You could also invite famous teachers to guide your cultivation. You had just entered the academy, so how could you have points? You could only accumulate them from scratch. Because these points could not be traded. However, they had one advantage, which was that they could be exchanged in reverse. You could take things you didn't need to Treasure Peak and exchange them for points. You indeed had many things on you that you didn't need. However, being new, you didn't want to be too ostentatious, so you had delayed exchanging them. Now, you had established a certain foundation of connections and could act. You sent a Dao body, carrying all the things you didn't need, to Treasure Peak. Although Treasure Peak was a single peak, it had its own unique space with various trading areas inside. The disciple of Treasure Peak quickly inventoried the resources you brought. But the points he offered were a full 20% lower than the market price. You asked him what was going on and why it was so low. The disciple impatiently said, "It's been this price for years, how is it low? Just tell me if you're selling or not." 723. Linglong Treasure Pavilion, 30 billion Saint Crystals. Hidden score, sneak into Treasure Peak. This attitude, these prices, your Dao body instantly stormed off in a huff. Not long after your Dao body left, an old man dressed as a merchant chased after you. He said his name was Chao Wenyuan, the branch manager of Linglong Treasure Pavilion. He had noticed you for a long time due to your generous spending. You said you just wanted to exchange some points and didn't expect to encounter such a thing. Was the official acquisition price of Treasure Peak really that much lower than outside? Chao Wenyuan chuckled, "Of course not. Initially, Treasure Peak's prices were quite fair, almost identical to market prices. Later, some people embezzled funds, and the prices naturally dropped all the way, now only retaining 80%. You asked curiously, "Doesn't the academy manage it?" Chao Wenyuan shook his head, "Manage? How to manage? First, setting aside that Treasure Peak Lord, Many Treasures Taoist, is another Shore Realm expert, Black-White Palace Master can only turn a blind eye to everything at Treasure Peak. Secondly, there's a huge chain of interests behind this. Perhaps even the Palace Master gets a share of the benefits. You didn't expect that even the Black-White Academy couldn't escape corruption." Chao Wenyuan then patted his chest and said that his Linglong Treasure Pavilion was quite large, and if you wanted to sell anything, you could come to him, and the price would definitely be fair. Even if you couldn't exchange it for points, the pavilion would surely have many things you desired. Hearing this, you were tempted and went to the Linglong Branch Pavilion as a guest. Upon learning that Linglong Treasure Pavilion had many materials you needed, you immediately sold everything to Chao Wenyuan. Chao Wenyuan happily accepted the business, as it was a significant achievement. You sold everything for a total of 33 billion Saint Crystals. If it were calculated at Treasure Peak's 80% discount, you would only get points worth 26.4 billion Saint Crystals, resulting in a net loss of 7 billion. It was truly exploitative. Afterward, Chao Wenyuan even gave you a VIP card, allowing a 5% discount on everything in the pavilion. After getting the VIP card, you immediately started a massive shopping spree, purchasing over a dozen rare top-tier materials, and only then left satisfied. In terms of fairness, it must be said that Linglong Treasure Pavilion was far superior to Treasure Peak. Moreover, you could basically purchase everything you needed through it. Barring any accidents, you would most likely not go to Treasure Peak to exchange points in the future. However, shortly after you returned to Celestial Peak, the Peak Lord came to your door and asked if you had just been to Treasure Peak. You said yes, but Treasure Peak was too much of a scam, so you later chose Linglong Treasure Pavilion. Celestial Peak Lord slapped his thigh and said, "You're confused. Treasure Peak has a hidden internal rating for all disciples. If you bring a large amount of resources to their door and don't exchange them for points, your hidden rating will decrease. In the future, if you want to go to Treasure Peak to exchange resources with points, it will be troublesome." You thought, what the hell, it can be like this. You were new here, how could you know these unwritten rules? You frowned and said, isn't this forced buying and selling? Celestial Peak Lord said, so what? As long as they are within the Black-White Academy, who dares not give Treasure Peak face? Alright, I've truly experienced Treasure Peak's tyranny. You smiled coldly, thanked the Peak Lord for the reminder, and returned to your residence to continue your seclusion. You threw the rare materials to the Hongmengdao Palace to devour. So many top-tier materials were enough to significantly enhance the strength of the Hongmengdao Palace. And you, on the other hand, began to strengthen the Immortal Dao principles. You followed your self-created Immortal Dao system, not the sacrificial Dao system. Therefore, the strength of the Immortal Dao principles was closely related to your strength. If primordial Qi balanced world-destroying power and epic power, then the Immortal Dao principles were the carrier of both. The stronger the Immortal Dao principles, the more world-destroying epic power they could bear. Currently, the carrying capacity of the Immortal Dao principles had not yet reached its limit. But it was getting close. You had to prepare in advance to prevent problems before they arose. In the second year of your seclusion, a Treasure Peak disciple came to find you, saying that your hidden rating had been damaged, and he had a way to fix it for you, but the price would certainly not be cheap. You asked him how much it would cost. The disciple quoted 10 million Saint Crystals. You muttered to yourself, 10 million Saint Crystals was not cheap, but for you, it was just a drop in the bucket. If you could truly spend 10 million to solve the hidden rating problem, it would be worth it. After all, Treasure Peak had another Shore Realm expert overseeing it, so it wasn't that easy to shake. So, you took out 10 million Saint Crystals. However, after the disciple took it, he smiled and said, don't rush, this is just the price for 1 point. And your lost hidden rating was as high as 12 points, so you still had to take out 110 million Saint Crystals. Alright, you're trying to set me up, aren't you? You laughed in extreme anger. If a tiger doesn't show its might, do you really think it's a sick cat? You immediately suppressed the sacrificial Dao 9th stage disciple named Feng Yu and then performed soul searching on him. Through his memories, you discovered that the corruption of Treasure Peak was far more shocking than you had realized. Treasure Peak was utterly profit-driven. Almost everyone in Treasure Peak was using their power to amass wealth. And the source was many treasures Taoists' few personal disciples. So, it was simply impossible to prohibit it. You certainly couldn't manage such a thing either. But you coveted, you despised such methods of accumulating wealth. You felt it was necessary to infiltrate Treasure Peak, enlighten them with truth, goodness, and beauty, and make them turn over a new leaf. You sealed Feng Yu and had a Dao body disguise as him to infiltrate Treasure Peak. Your primordial Qi was even better at disguise than 1,000 transformations. As long as it wasn't exposed directly under the eyes of another Shore Realm expert, almost no one could discover it. Upon entering Treasure Peak, you took out 119 million and gave it to the elder behind the scenes. Don't think that Feng Yu asked for a lot, 99% of it went to the elder behind the scenes. But this money certainly wasn't all for him. The elder was backed by many treasures Taoist's 6th personal disciple, Starfall Sword Saint, and the largest share still belonged to him. Your Dao body quickly familiarized itself with Feng Yu's network and locked onto targets, choosing others to deal with. You had a full 9 Dao bodies. One was managing the Eternal Life Immortal Court in the lower realm. Only one had come out now. The other 7 were already eager. They also wanted to achieve great deeds and display their special talents. 2 years later, all 8 of your Dao bodies had integrated into various positions of considerable authority within Treasure Peak. With these identities, your Dao bodies were like fish in water. The wealth accumulated each year, converted into Saint Crystals, amounted to a staggering 2 billion. This was just the beginning. As it scaled up later, the wealth accumulated would only increase. 724. Massive Wealth, Merit Pagoda. Hongmeng Advanced, Master of Casting. Of course, your main body's command wasn't for them to make money, but to enlighten the fallen people of Treasure Peak. At Treasure Peak, money makes the world go round. The 8 great avatars unanimously believed that only with money could they achieve their grand ambitions and enlighten the masses. Therefore, they became increasingly greedy. Time flew by, and 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. The 9 great avatars accumulated a massive amount of wealth for you, roughly estimated to be over 80 billion Saint Crystals. The advancement materials for Hongmengdao Palace, which you had been worried about, were also easily resolved by the 9 great avatars. At Treasure Peak, money can make a ghost push a mill. As long as there is enough money, getting some top-tier materials is effortless. Over these 10 years, Hongmengdao Palace swallowed the top-tier materials you had previously acquired, and its strength increased several times over. Among high-tier Vault of Heaven treasures, it was considered one of the most powerful. But before it could even catch its breath, a large quantity of rare materials was sent to it, as if they were free, making it impossible for it to rest for even a moment. During this time, your Tao body also found a defensive top-tier Vault of Heaven treasure that was extremely suitable for you. Its name was Profound Yellow Merit Pagoda. It could resist both divine soul attacks and physical attacks, and it also had the effect of suppression and sealing. It had been stored in the Treasure Peak treasury for many years, and no one had exchanged for it yet. Because to use it, one must consume the power of karma. For many people, it was quite useless. But for you, it was very suitable. You were inherently of great virtue and kindness, so collecting karma was not difficult. This item, in your hands, would surely produce miraculous effects. However, to exchange for it, you would need to spend at least 10 billion points. Converted to saint crystals at par value, that would be over 100 billion. This was an astronomical figure. Many half-step other shore realm cultivators did not possess such wealth. But for you, it was not difficult. As long as the Tao body lurking in Treasure Peak wasn't exposed, it would only be a matter of 20 or 30 years. Perhaps even faster. Because while Academy points were explicitly forbidden from being traded on the surface, they could circulate freely within Treasure Peak, which was one of the means for many to accumulate wealth. You couldn't help but lament, it's good to have privileges. Treasure Peak managed the operation of most resources in Black-White Academy. Entering Treasure Peak was like becoming an official in the mortal world, with endless benefits. In the blink of an eye, another 15 years passed. After devouring a massive amount of top-tier materials, the golden figure fell into a deep sleep, and Hongmengdao Palace finally began to transform into a top-tier Vault of Heaven treasure. At this time, the number of divine restrictions in the Tao Palace also reached 720. Many of them were top-tier divine restrictions that your Tao body specifically acquired at Treasure Peak. 3 years later, the transformation of Hongmengdao Palace was complete. A grand mist creation phenomenon descended upon Black-White Academy, alarming many powerhouses. Black-White Palace Master even personally came to Celestial Peak and said to you, "Not bad." After the Palace Master left, Celestial Peak Lord sourly remarked, "You've been quiet for so long, I didn't expect you were brewing something big." The Heavenly Craftsman Peak Lord also came to Celestial Peak, wanting to borrow Hongmengdao Palace for some research. Of course, you subtly refused. He had been indifferent to you back then, so now you wanted him to experience that feeling. However, you didn't completely shut him down. If Hongmengdao Palace were to advance again in the future, you might still need to ask this old man for help. You said that you would familiarize yourself with it first, and then let him study it in a few hundred years. The Heavenly Craftsman Peak Lord expressed that it was only right and then left. Afterward, you began to study the advanced Hongmengdao Palace. First, it enhanced your various talents. The amplification of comprehension ability by infinite enlightenment reached an astonishing 6,000 times. The strength of your Tao body also reached 90% of your main body. Secondly, it was the enhancement of your strength. After advancing, the power of Hongmengdao Palace greatly increased. At full power, it was enough to increase your strength by 2 or 3 times, allowing you to easily defeat 5 or 6 Snow Mountain old men at their peak. Presumably, dealing with the other shore phantom during the lightning calamity would also be easier. After Hongmeng advanced, your reputation soared in Black-White Academy. Many people thought you were a great master of artifact forging and wanted you to forge weapons for them. You originally intended to refuse. You weren't a great master of artifact forging, and you were busy preparing for the lightning calamity, so you didn't have time to forge artifacts. But then you had a change of heart. This was a good opportunity. You needed 10 billion points to exchange for the Karma Pagoda. If you used resources for the exchange, Treasure Peak would take 20%. You would definitely prioritize using the points accumulated by your Tao body. But how to convert the points in your Tao body's possession into yours was a difficult problem. After all, such a large amount could easily arouse suspicion. Isn't artifact forging a good way to launder points? Thus, you began to accept requests for artifact forging from others. Although you weren't a great master of artifact forging, with your strength, you could completely find a few great masters to help you. You sent your Tao body to a place far from Black-White Academy to capture 3 great masters to work for you. This way, you could continuously forge mid to high tier Vault of Heaven treasures. Celestial Peak Lord, knowing you had this skill, also asked you to forge a high tier sword. Since he was an old acquaintance, you naturally prioritized his request. Moreover, Celestial Peak Lord had a considerable network, which could also help you build your reputation. With the combined efforts of the 3 great masters, this Vault of Heaven treasure was forged in less than 2 months. Celestial Peak Lord was surprised by your speed, and after checking the quality was fine, he left in high spirits. But a few days later, he found you again. He asked how the 2 runes carved on the sword body resembled the characters for Save Life. You were startled and examined it. It indeed looked very similar. However, because this type of writing was relatively rare and not a common script, you hadn't noticed it at first. You smiled and said he was mistaken, that they were merely for decoration and had no special meaning. Since he was not satisfied, you could engrave 2 divine restrictions for him free of charge. Celestial Peak Lord's eyes lit up, and he immediately agreed. After you engraved 2 divine restrictions and erased the 2 characters, you handed him the sword. Afterward, you went to the small world where the 3 great masters were imprisoned. You had originally told the 3 that you would release them after they worked for you for 1,000 years. Yet they resorted to such petty tricks. Truly, human hearts have degenerated. You didn't know who did it, and you were too lazy to investigate deeply, so you directly implemented collective punishment, hanging all 3 of them up, beating them soundly, and warning them that if such a thing happened again, you would make them lose an arm or a leg. The 3 trembled, swearing they would never dare again. 2 years later, the points accumulated by your 8 great avatars reached 10 billion. Next, you prepared to exchange for the Karma Pagoda. 725. Get the pagoda and accumulate merit. Acquaintances rob and kill. 9 Thunder Disasters. Over the past 2 years, as your reputation grew, more and more students sought you out for artifact forging. It wasn't too abrupt for you to have the 8 Tao bodies from Treasure Peak come to you for artifact forging. Upon their arrival, all 8 Tao bodies presented large orders, and you requested that they jointly contribute points to purchase the Karma Pagoda for you. To make it more discreet, not only the 8 Tao bodies were involved in the pagoda purchase, but also dozens of others who had sought you out for artifact forging. However, the 8 Tao bodies contributed the majority. After the transaction was completed, the Karma Pagoda was quickly purchased from Treasure Peak. This incident caused quite a stir. After all, this was a top-tier Vault of Heaven treasure. Treasures of this caliber are rarely purchased, perhaps only once every few 100,000 years. And the purchaser being you, the great master who recently forged the Hongmeng Tao Palace, undoubtedly made it even more of a talking point. As a result, you now possessed 2 top-tier Vault of Heaven treasures, attracting much envy. After acquiring the Karma Pagoda, you spent a full 6 months refining it. This pagoda has a total of 7 layers. The more layers activated, the greater its power. With the residual karma power on you, you could only activate the first 2 layers, and for a maximum of 1 hour. This was clearly insufficient. Next, you needed to vigorously collect karma. Only with sufficient karma would you have the confidence to overcome the lightning calamity. You still had 1 Tao body in the lower realm. You had already issued a command to him to fully focus on collecting karma. After advancing to the life and death realm, you primarily relied on heavenly Tao feedback to enhance your strength. Immortal Nianli Immortal's willpower was of little use to you anymore. Therefore, changing your development direction was imperative. Now that karma was useful, it was natural to collect it with all your might. However, karma from the lower realm was difficult to transmit directly to the Transcendent Saint realm. You already had a solution for this. Treasure Peak of the Black-White Academy had magic treasures that connected the 2 realms. Among them, the most expensive, the Spatial Rift Pool, only cost 10 billion points. Far cheaper than the Karma Pagoda. Less than 2 months later, you used the same trick and acquired the Spatial Rift Pool. You placed the Spatial Rift Pool within the Hongmeng Tao Palace, and sent its fragmented sub-pools to the lower realm via the Black-White Academy's realm-breaking teleportation array. This way, you could continuously receive karma and other resources from the lower realm. Your goal was to accumulate enough karma power to activate the 7-layered profound yellow pagoda for 3 days and 3 nights. The lower realm had a vast population base, and before long, a large amount of karma power emerged. However, achieving this goal was still not easy, estimated to take several hundred years. The Black-White Academy had karma beads condensed from karma power, and you instructed your Tao body to secretly collect them in large quantities. You could also acquire wealth by forging magic treasures and purchase karma beads from shops. As long as the number of karma beads was sufficient, it should be able to solve the urgent problem. 3 years passed like this, and your accumulated wealth grew larger and larger, until finally, someone couldn't resist making a move against you. On your way back after purchasing karma beads from the exquisite treasure pavilion, several black-clad half-step other shore realm individuals ambushed you, attempting to assassinate you. You immediately hid inside the Honmeng Dao Palace and called upon your Dao body, who was lurking in Treasure Peak, to support you, thus resolving the crisis. You still felt some lingering fear, not expecting that even being so low-key, someone would still try to act maliciously. However, the aura of one of them felt somewhat familiar to you. 726. Eclipse Crow King, the 4th level of life and death. Evil Heavenly Shi, the Holy Sun Emperor. This is, the heavenly Tao imprint of the Eclipse Crow Emperor. Countless people gasped, their scalps tingling. The Eclipse Crow Emperor was a renowned other shore realm expert from the previous Kalpa in the Transcendent Saint realm, whose strength was no less than that of the current Palace Master of Black-White Academy. His heavenly Tao imprint was absolutely extraordinary. The 5 other shore realm powerhouses of Black-White Academy were also startled, all turning their gaze towards this place. They quickly recognized that this was the Eclipse Crow Emperor in his state before he broke through to the other shore realm. Even so, it was extremely astonishing. In the half-step other shore realm, he was almost unrivaled, and not someone you could withstand. The Eclipse Crow Emperor gazed down at you indifferently, then shot out countless black feathers, like a meteor shower descending from the sky, filled with a pervasive aura of death, assailing you. You took out the Honmeng Dao Palace and completely blocked this first wave of attacks. When advancing it earlier, your only requirement for the Honmeng Dao Palace was its sturdiness. Now, even facing another shore realm imprint, it did not disappoint you. Seeing this, the Eclipse Crow Emperor let out a sharp cry, and the sound of his caw transformed into visible ripples, surging towards you. Even though the onlookers were far away and not the target of the attack, they still felt their heads about to explode. This was an indescribable divine soul attack. A golden yellow pagoda flew out from your body, and innate profound yellow chi descended, firmly protecting you. It was precisely the profound yellow merit pagoda. It weakened the divine soul attack by 99%. When the residual power struck you, you could easily block it. Then, you crushed a massive amount of karma pearls, and the karma pagoda suddenly trembled, suppressing the Eclipse Crow Emperor's imprint. Even the Eclipse Crow Emperor's imprint, which was almost invincible in the half-step other shore realm, found it difficult to break free for a time. Many people only then realized that they had underestimated the profound yellow merit pagoda. They had thought it was a useless item, but they never expected that as long as there was enough karma, it could unleash such divine might. Of course, some were amazed, while others felt guilty. The Celestial Peak Lord, seeing this scene, realized that you had hidden your strength and deliberately feigned weakness. Otherwise, you wouldn't have needed others' support, you could have escaped on your own. However, he was mistaken about this point. You weren't deliberately feigning weakness, you simply didn't want to use karma power. The Eclipse Crow Emperor's imprint was now locked in a war of attrition with you. It was a matter of whether your karma power would run out first, or his heavenly Tao power. 3 hours passed in a flash, and the power of the tribulation clouds gradually receded. Clearly, since the Eclipse Crow Emperor's imprint couldn't do anything to you for such a long time, the heavenly Tao had already judged that you successfully underwent tribulation. The Eclipse Crow Emperor let out an unwilling shriek, releasing a terrifying attack that struck you from afar, making you vomit blood. But this strike also exhausted all of his power. After this one attack, his imprint completely dissipated. You successfully overcame the lightning calamity. A large amount of heavenly Tao feedback surged in, causing your power to rise steadily. Your strength increased by more than 5 times. You successfully broke through to the 4th stage of the life and death realm. At this moment, a deep, aged voice sounded, "Such a prodigy can enter my secret courtyard." Secret courtyard students in Black-White Academy all enjoyed great privileges. If you could leap to become a secret courtyard student, it would undoubtedly be a huge surprise for you. Indeed, true gold shines wherever it is. Finally, someone discovered that you were an unparalleled prodigy. If nothing unexpected, this person should be Kalpolite Dao ancestor, who manages the secret courtyard. However, before you could rejoice for long, another low, hoarse voice came. Dao ancestor, reconsider. This person was sent by Tianxi Saint Lord. The aged voice sounded a little surprised, then no longer mentioned the matter. Now you were anxious. Who the hell was so immoral as to ruin your good fortune? And was this Tianxi Saint Lord's reputation really that bad? To actually affect your entry into the secret courtyard? There were some acquaintances on the scene who congratulated you on overcoming the lightning calamity. But many others looked at you with schadenfreude. So what if he's an unparalleled prodigy? He's still stuck in the inner courtyard just like them. After responding to your acquaintances, you returned to Celestial Peak feeling a bit depressed. Then, you activated your connections to find out who exactly ruined your good fortune. And what exactly did Tianxi Saint Lord do that was so outrageous as to affect your entry into the secret courtyard? Soon you learned that the one who spoke out to stop it was the other Shore Realm powerhouse in charge of the Yin vein in the Academy, the Nether King of Eternal Night. The Yin and Yang veins have always been at odds. You joined the Yang vein, so the Nether King of Eternal Night coming to stop it was not unexpected. But there were no clues about the Tianxi Saint Lord matter. From the information you had gathered so far, besides his slightly poor reputation, he didn't seem to have done anything truly heinous. He could even still recommend students to Black-White Academy as usual. Logically, he shouldn't be able to affect your entry into the secret courtyard. Perhaps there were hidden secrets in this that ordinary people didn't know about. A few days later, the Celestial Peak Lord suddenly found you, saying that Saint Yang Emperor wanted to see you. Saint Yang Emperor was the master of the Yang vein in Black-White Academy. You had thought that due to your connection with Tianxi Saint Lord, you wouldn't interact with other Shore Realm experts in the Academy, but you didn't expect someone to still summon you. You went to the Saint Yang Hall, located within the Yin and Yang Dao diagram in the sky. There, you saw Saint Yang Emperor, whose entire body was engulfed in flames. Even though he deliberately restrained his aura, you still felt a powerful scorching force. Rumor had it that Saint Yang Emperor achieved Dao as a three-legged golden crow. Seeing him today, the rumor was likely true. Saint Yang Emperor said you were a prodigy of the Yang vein, encouraged you, and bestowed upon you a jade token. With this item, you could enter the 10,000 Laws Pavilion on Treasure Peak and choose any top-tier cultivation technique. However, he did not mention raising your status or rank. You couldn't help but ask directly, why did Kalpolite Dao ancestor's attitude change after hearing about Tianxi Saint Lord a few days ago? Saint Yang Emperor snorted coldly. Tianxi Saint Lord acted perversely, attempting to expel all foreign races from Tianxi Holy State and let the human race reign supreme. Excluding Kalpolite Dao ancestor and many treasures Taoist, the other three Shore Realm experts in Black-White Academy are all of foreign race origin. How could they welcome him? If I hadn't found out that your relationship with him wasn't deep, I wouldn't have rewarded you either. You were shocked to hear this, so there was such an inside story. You immediately spoke with righteous indignation. The myriad races have coexisted for endless years, long since indistinguishable from each other. Tianxi Saint Lord is forcibly inciting conflict among the various races, and he will surely be scorned by all people. Saint Yang Emperor showed some interest. Do you truly believe that? You said emphatically, of course. If I were Tianxi Saint Lord, I would definitely treat the human race and foreign races equally. 727. The heart of the devil is doomed, the supreme state of mind. The world of mortals refines the heart, and the heavenly power seeks death. With Saint Yang Emperor's strength, he could perceive that you were not lying, and his impression of you improved by another 3 points. Thus, he once again bestowed upon you a jade token. After milking him twice, you left satisfied. But you did not immediately head to the 10,000 Laws Pavilion. You had already passed the 3 calamities, and next came the 3 tribulations. And the first tribulation was the rather tricky heart demon tribulation. You needed to prepare for this. The Transcendent Saint Realm also has spiritual realms, and they are even more complete than those in the lower realm, divided into 10 levels. They are respectively, Clear Heart, Seeing Nature, Psychic, Stainless, Comprehending Tao, Divine Illumination, No Self, Thorough Profundity, Supreme, and Transcendent. Most half-step Shore Realm cultivators are in the Comprehending Tao or Divine Illumination realm. And you, as an ascension from the lower realm, had a spiritual realm 1 level higher than theirs, having already reached the No-Self realm. If it were a heart demon tribulation for an ordinary sacrificial Tao, it would certainly be difficult to pose a threat to you. But the key was that you were not an ordinary sacrificial Tao. You wondered what spiritual realm you needed to reach to successfully pass it. You took out the Tai Divine Dipper, and after injecting a large amount of saint crystals, the Divine Dipper showed that your heart demon tribulation would involve experiencing 10,000 cycles of reincarnation, and finally, you would encounter Heart Demon Saint. Heart Demon Saint was another Shore Realm expert who achieved Tao through spiritual illusions. This time was different from before. The Tai Divine Dipper said you would encounter Heart Demon Saint, not his incarnation or imprint. This level of difficulty was not ordinary. You wondered what spiritual realm you needed to reach to pass it. So, you began to inject primordial chi, seeking an answer. The Tai Divine Dipper quickly showed that you must reach the 9th level, the Supreme Realm, to pass it. The Supreme Realm was almost the pinnacle of spiritual cultivation in the Transcendent Saint Realm. Most ancient other Shore Realm cultivators were only at this realm. As for the Transcendent Realm, many other Shore Realm experts could only sigh in admiration. And the Tai Divine Dipper actually made you cultivate to this realm, which was undoubtedly making things difficult for you. Most importantly, a mind cultivation technique that could allow your spiritual realm to break through to Supreme was worth no less than a top-tier primordial spirit treasure. Even the Black-White Academy did not have such a mind cultivation technique. Were you going to be stuck in the heart demon tribulation forever? You believed that there would always be a way, and the Tai Divine Dipper must have a shortcut. You injected all the excess primordial chi in your body into the Tai Divine Dipper, and only then did it slowly display a line of text. The Black-White Academies, Crimson Dust Heart Refining Art, the Celestial Tin Holy Quartz, Supreme Forgotten Love Record, and the Luli Buddhist sects, Luli Heart Sutra, combined, can break through to Supreme. After seeing this, you felt a wave of despair. The Crimson Dust Heart Refining Art was fine, as it was in the Black-White Academy's 10,000 Laws Pavilion. It was a very famous top-tier mind cultivation technique. But the other two cultivation techniques were not so easy to obtain. However, having a solution was better than having none at all. You first went to the 10,000 Laws Pavilion and exchanged for the Crimson Dust Heart Refining Art. This mind cultivation technique required 120 billion points to exchange, 20 billion more than the Profound Yellow Merit Pagoda. If you had to purchase it, it would take a lot of effort, as you had just cleared out your points a while ago. But this time, you had the Jade token bestowed by Saint Yang Emperor, so you could directly exchange for it, which was very easy. You had 2 Jade tokens in your hand, you used one and kept the other for a rainy day. Afterward, you returned to your residence and began to cultivate the Crimson Dust Heart Refining Art. Not 2 months later, your Tao body discovered that the Celestial Peak Lord's whereabouts were secretive, and he occasionally met privately with several half-step other Shore Realm old friends. You wondered if these people were the black-clothed individuals who ambushed you back then. You sneered when you heard the news. Ever since you discovered that the Celestial Peak Lord was one of the ambushers, you had sent people to monitor him. If he had been more well-behaved, you might have let him live a few more days. Since he was not well-behaved, you would send him to his grave sooner. A few more days passed, and the Celestial Peak Lord actually took the initiative to seek you out, inviting you to explore a certain ancient secret realm for treasure. You feigned surprise and asked, "Are there only 2 of you?" The Celestial Peak Lord said of course not. That ancient secret realm was very dangerous, and he had also found several other old friends. You guessed in your heart that seeking treasure was false, and attacking you was likely true. However, you were very puzzled as to why they still had the guts to attack you after witnessing your strength during the lightning calamity. Was there someone else behind them instructing them? You became vigilant and sent a Tao body to follow the Celestial Peak Lord and the others to the ancient secret realm. After the Celestial Peak Lord led your Tao body into a dangerous area, he revealed his fangs. He said that as long as you were willing to hand over the 2 top-tier Vault of Heaven treasures, he would spare your life. You scoffed, saying that with just a few of them, they couldn't harm you at all. Is that so? At this moment, a yellow-clothed man carrying a long sword walked out. Your Tao body was greatly alarmed at the sight. This person was none other than Many Treasures Taoist's 6th personal disciple, Starfall Sword Saint. He possessed strength almost unrivaled among half-step other Shore Realm cultivators. Even your main body might not be his match. Was he the true mastermind behind everything? You asked him why he, as many treasures Taoist's personal disciple, would lack treasures and attack a fellow sect member for just 2 Vault of Heaven treasures. Starfall Sword Saint said that in the past, he certainly wouldn't have, but now that he had cultivated a special divine ability, the more powerful magic treasure he had, the better. Since that was the case, you stopped wasting words with him. Your main body, with the profound yellow merit pagoda suspended above its head, led the other Tao bodies out to kill. Starfall Sword Saint was startled, not expecting you to have such a powerful clone divine ability. In the subsequent exchanges, the Celestial Peak Lord and the others were all slain by you. Soon, only Starfall Sword Saint was left alone. In any case, they were the ones who attacked you first this time, so even if another Shore Realm expert came, they couldn't say anything. Starfall Sword Saint looked a little anxious. Your main body was slightly weaker than him, but with these Tao bodies, he found it difficult to cope. He gritted his teeth and unleashed a Wei Ji, with 5 top-tier Vault of Heaven treasures and more than 20 high-tier Vault of Heaven treasures unfurling behind him, instantly erupting with powerful offensive force. Not only were all your Tao bodies annihilated, but your main body was also sent flying far away. When you returned again, Starfall Sword Saint had already disappeared. This Wei Ji must be the special divine ability he spoke of. It was indeed extraordinary. Subsequently, you collected the spoils of war from the other half-step other Shore Realm cultivators and returned to the academy. Upon your return, you began to soul-search the Celestial Peak Lord and discovered that Starfall Sword Saint was behind both ambushes. You did not hesitate and immediately reported this matter to Saint Yang Emperor. After all, the death of a half-step other Shore Realm cultivator was a major event, and rather than waiting for the sect to investigate you, it was better to take the initiative. 728. Xingyan was punished and became a disciple of the other side. Goodbye Tianxi, all beings are equal. Anyway, from beginning to end, you were the victim in this matter. Starfall Sword Saint should be the one worrying. Saint Yang Emperor quickly reported this matter to Black-White Palace Master. Ultimately, this matter concluded with Starfall Sword Saint being exiled to the Sword Tomb for 100,000 years, and the Academy compensating you. The Sword Tomb is a plane filled with millions of sentient ancient swords, overflowing with materialized violent sword intent and the former Sword Master's obsessions. Even if Starfall Sword Saint was considered invincible in the half-step other Shore Realm, he would definitely not have an easy time there. It would be like enduring a million years of torture. However, for hunting a fellow disciple, this punishment was not severe. This was naturally because he had strong backing. If he didn't have another Shore Realm expert as his master, his fate would definitely have been death. As for the Academy, they compensated you with 3 billion points and the status of a true courtyard disciple. Although the true courtyard is not as good as the secret courtyard, its treatment is still much better than the inner courtyard. One of the greatest rights it offers is the qualification to become a disciple of another Shore Realm expert. You deeply understood the importance of having a backer. With another Shore Realm backer, other Shore Realm experts would not easily act against you. Moreover, it would be much easier for you to overcome future tribulations. Black-White Academy has 5 great other Shore Realm experts: Black-White Palace Master, Many Treasures Taoist, Nether King of Eternal Night, Saint Yang Emperor, and Kalpa Light Tao Ancestor. Don't even think about Black-White Palace Master. You can't even enter the main lineage, let alone become his disciple. As for Many Treasures Taoist, you just sent his disciple to the Sword Tomb to serve his sentence. Nether King of Eternal Night once deliberately made things difficult for you. Kalpa Light Tao Ancestor greatly dislikes Tianxi Saint Lord. The only one with hope was Saint Yang Emperor. Although he also disliked Tianxi Saint Lord, he at least gave you 2 priceless jade tokens, proving that he had more good feelings towards you. When you proposed to Saint Yang Emperor to become his disciple, he indeed did not directly refuse. But he also put forward a condition. He wanted you to prove that you were not on the same side as Tianxi Saint Lord. You said with some difficulty, "May I ask, Emperor, how should this disciple prove it? I can't just provoke Tianxi Saint Lord, can I?" Saint Yang Emperor said, "That's not necessary. He is currently having the Saint Court army expel the Netherworld race from the southeast of Tianxi Holy State. If you can stop them, that will be enough to prove your attitude." It must be said that Saint Yang Emperor indeed gave you a difficult task. But as long as you wanted to become his disciple, there was no room for refusal. You readily agreed. However, you couldn't guarantee whether you could do it. After leaving the Saint Yang Palace, you headed to Tianxi Holy State. Since it involved another shore realm expert, your true body would definitely be involved. Besides completing the task Saint Yang Emperor assigned, you also had to find a way to obtain the Supreme Forgotten Love record from Tianxi Saint Lord. Your current strength, compared to when you left Tianxi Holy State, was not a world apart, but there was a huge difference. Previously, a journey that would take you several years now only took 2 months. Along the way, you also conveniently cultivated the Crimson Dust Heart refining art to the 3rd realm. After entering Tianxi Holy State, you went straight to the Saint Court where Tianxi Saint Lord resided. Tianxi Saint Lord warmly welcomed your arrival. Clearly, he had long heard of your deeds. As your recommender, you had given him a lot of face. You were somewhat overwhelmed that Tianxi Saint Lord gave you so much face. After 3 rounds of drinks, you began to sigh. Tianxi Saint Lord asked if you had encountered any difficulties. You said that you were about to undergo a heart demon tribulation and were lacking a top-tier mind cultivation technique. If only you had entered the secret courtyard back then, you would have been able to obtain a top-tier technique for free. Upon hearing this, Tianxi Saint Lord felt a little ashamed. He knew that you had missed out on the secret courtyard because of him. Thus, he took out a top-tier mind cultivation technique and gifted it to you. Your face lit up with joy. But after seeing the name, your smile froze. Because this technique was not the Supreme Forgotten Love record you wanted, but rather the Heavenly Devil Mind Confusion Great Art. This was also a famous technique, Tianxi Saint Lord's signature skill, which allowed him to reverse manipulate heart demons and turn them into his own combat power. After memorizing it, you shamelessly asked for the Supreme Forgotten Love record again. As for the matter Saint Yang Emperor assigned, you had long thrown it aside. You would first take care of what you needed. Tianxi Saint Lord, however, frowned and said, "It's not that I don't want to give it to you, but this technique involves an extremely ancient other shore realm expert. If you cultivate it, you might easily become entangled in his karma." You said it was fine and that you already had a countermeasure. Upon hearing this, Tianxi Saint Lord was surprised and no longer stopped you, gifting you the Supreme Forgotten Love record. Of course, you had no countermeasure. But this Supreme Forgotten Love record was specifically designated by Tai Divine Dipper for you to cultivate, so even if there was karma, you had to practice it. Otherwise, what would you do about the heart demon tribulation? You wanted to return the Heavenly Devil Mind Confusion Great Art to Tianxi Saint Lord. Tianxi Saint Lord, however, didn't even lift an eyelid and said there was no need, as you had already read it all anyway. You coughed, feeling a bit embarrassed. It wasn't that you loved taking advantage, but you really couldn't resist. This technique could turn heart demons into combat power, who wouldn't covet it? Afterward, the banquet dispersed, but you did not take your leave. You privately spoke frankly with Tianxi Saint Lord, explaining Saint Yang Emperor's condition for accepting a disciple, and asked him if he could not expel the Netherworld race. Tianxi Saint Lord shook his head and said, "That Netherworld race refines living people into corpse ghouls and uses them as slaves. Several prefectures, common people have already suffered. This Venerable only expels them. I'm already giving them a lot of face, so there's no room for discussion on this matter." You asked, "What if I have a way to enlighten the Netherworld race?" Tianxi Saint Lord said that if that were the case, he could agree to your request. Thus, you set off that very night for the Netherworld race's territory. The Netherworld race was not numerous, with only a few million clansmen. However, they were innately gifted and individually powerful, possessing strength comparable to a lower domain immortal lord at birth. With a little effort, becoming an Immortal Emperor was also within reach. Therefore, the strength of their entire race was not weak, with tens of thousands of sacrificial Dao experts and 4 or 5 half-step other shore realm experts. Upon arriving at the Netherworld race's territory, you began to vigorously propagate your doctrine of the equality of all beings. You said that from the innate heavenly god down to the ants underfoot, all are equal lives, and the Netherworld race should not use their innate talent to refine them into corpse ghouls. On the contrary, the Netherworld race should abandon their innate talent for refining corpse ghouls, coexist harmoniously with other races, and create a beautiful world. 729. Influence the Netherworld and destroy the catastrophe. Enter the Holy Sun and your state of mind will rise sharply. Many of the Netherworld race scoffed at your doctrine. Abandon innate talent, isn't that tying their own hands? But they couldn't defeat you in a fight, nor could they drive you away, so they could only let you spout nonsense in the Netherworld race's territory. Of course, they thought you were spouting nonsense, and you thought they were stubborn. It seems that inspiring them will be a long and arduous task. Another half a year passed. The Netherworld race could no longer endure your nagging, and their experts successively attacked you, even allying with experts from other races, but all were repelled by you. Seeing the Netherworld race's attitude, it seems that without some strong medicine, they cannot be inspired. You began to have your Tao body kidnap Netherworld race experts and replace them. A month later, all 8 of your Tao body had integrated into the Netherworld race's upper echelons. At this point, the situation finally changed drastically. With your Tao body working from within and without, a continuous stream of repentant individuals appeared in the Netherworld race. This left everyone else completely bewildered. No way, you actually believe this crooked logic and evil doctrine. But this was a top-down change, and ordinary Netherworld race members had no right to choose. In addition, the Netherworld race was relatively small in number. In less than 2 years, they all changed their ways. The race began to explicitly prohibit refining other races into corp schools, especially the human race. Seeing your doctrine of equality finally accepted by the Netherworld race, you were greatly pleased. Subsequently, you once again went to the Celestial Tin Holy Court. Tianxi Saint Lord did not break his word and directly ordered the suspension of the expulsion of the Netherworld race. Of course, if one day the Netherworld race were to continue refining corp schools, he would still expel them. You patted your chest and guaranteed that your inspiration was extremely thorough, and such a thing would not happen. Before you left, Tianxi Saint Lord also warned you to be careful of Supreme Taoist Lord's karma. Supreme Taoist Lord, that is, the ancient transcendent who left behind the Supreme Forgotten Love record. You had also investigated some information during this time. This is an ancient existence that has lived through 5 great calamity of destruction. The Great Calamity of Destruction is the ultimate disaster of the Transcendent Saint Realm. It erupts whenever the karma of all living beings accumulates to its limit. At that time, the Transcendent Saint Realm would be destroyed and restarted. Transcendent experts would also fall in piles. And Supreme Taoist Lord being able to survive 5 great calamity of destruction indicates his terrifying strength. He is one of the transcendent closest to the transcendent. However, he never appeared during this great calamity. This Supreme Forgotten Love record was passed down from the last great calamity of destruction. Legend has it that cultivating it to the highest realm allows one to sense Supreme Taoist Lord. What will happen then, no one knows. And after the Heart Demon Great Calamity, there is the Karma Great Calamity. Getting entangled in karma with these powerful existences is clearly detrimental to your future undergoing tribulation. However, you are already entangled in karma with Tai Chu Taoist, one of the innate 5 Tai. You feel it doesn't matter if there's one more similar expert. This is called having so many debts that you don't have to worry. Afterward, you return to the Black-White Academy. Saint Yang Emperor was very satisfied with your performance, saying that you are indeed a person with great love. Saint Yang Emperor directly accepted you as a formal disciple. This was the first time Saint Yang Emperor had taken a disciple in 300 million years. Even without a grand ceremony, many people sent congratulatory gifts. Now, you finally have a backer. You had thoroughly offended many treasures Taoist at the Black-White Academy. Now that you have Saint Yang Emperor as your master, you don't have to fear him too much. Of course, besides many treasures Taoist, you also carry the karma of 2 ancient transcendent. You wonder if Saint Yang Emperor can block it. You still have considerable confidence in him. After becoming Saint Yang Emperor's formal disciple, he opened all the cultivation technique of the Yang vein to you and also bestowed celestial peak upon you, making you its peak master. In addition, Saint Yang Emperor also bestowed upon you a top-tier vault of heaven treasure named Myriad Tribulations Reincarnation Plate. This item can reverse life and death and suppress tribulation power. To any sacrificed Tao realm, it is a priceless treasure. Not to mention, for a prodigy like you whose tribulation power far exceeds that of ordinary sacrificed Tao. The bestowal of this item shows Saint Yang Emperor's Zhongxi of you. Great kindness is unforgettable. You were filled with gratitude. You secretly vowed that if you had the chance in the future, you would definitely repay Saint Yang Emperor well. After returning to Celestial Peak, because you became the Peak Master and took a Transcendent as your master. The students who had previously held prejudice against you because of Tianxi Saint Lord came to your door one after another to apologize. You waved your hand, saying these were minor matters and you had long since forgotten about them. These students breathed a sigh of relief. The Peak Master possesses numerous privileges. If you were to target them, they would be extremely miserable. Now it seems you are a broad-minded person. They were finally safe. Afterward, you stayed on Celestial Peak, cultivating the Crimson Dust Heart Refining Art and the Supreme Forgotten Love Record. Your 8 Tao body in the Netherworld race also returned, 5 of them, under the pretext of going into seclusion. After all, they still needed to make money for you at Treasure Peak. However, they couldn't all return now. Otherwise, the Netherworld race would lose control and easily be expelled again. In that case, it would be a slap in your face and Saint Yang Emperor's face. You have a thick skin, so it doesn't matter if you get slapped. But Saint Yang Emperor treated you well, and you wouldn't, nor would you dare, give him a slap. The Netherworld race will be temporarily managed by 3 Tao body. 3 days later, you entered the Supreme Forgotten Love Record. The Supreme Forgotten Love Record requires cultivators to sever the 7 emotions and 6 desires. Cultivating it to major achievement, one's spiritual realm can become like the heavenly Tao, emotionless and desireless, immune to all laws. If it weren't for the requirements of the Tai Divine Dipper, you would not cultivate such a cultivation technique. Because you are greatly virtuous and benevolent, and you still need to do good deeds and accumulate virtue. If you were emotionless and desireless, then you certainly wouldn't do good deeds. This is something you absolutely cannot tolerate. For now, you will cultivate it, and if it truly reaches that point, you will find another solution. As for the Heavenly Devil Mind Confusion Great Art, it is a demonic path cultivation technique, which you instinctively reject and do not wish to cultivate at present. Time flew by, and 20 years passed in a flash. You cultivated the Crimson Dust Heart Refining Art to the 7th realm. Beyond that is the realm of perfection. It will allow your spiritual realm to break through to profound. But achieving this step is extremely difficult. Because the rapid progress of these 20 years relied entirely on your previous foundation. Every step forward after that will be exceptionally difficult. And the Supreme Forgotten Love Record has also been cultivated by you to the 5th layer. Upon reaching this layer, you feel that your various desires have greatly diminished. One more step, and you might truly become desireless and unseeking. Therefore, you temporarily do not plan to continue cultivating the Supreme Forgotten Love Record. Next, you plan to find the Luli Heart Sutra, and then use your comprehension ability to combine the 3 heart cultivation technique to glimpse the Supreme Realm. 730. Luli Buddha, the Heart Sutra is in hand. The Netherworld is destroyed, and the 8 realms are profound. The Luli Buddhist sect is located in Tonghai Holy State, near Tianxi Holy State, and your Tao body has been continuously making contact there over the years. Your Tao body has already befriended several elders, but acquiring the Luli Heart Sutra remains difficult. This is because only the chief disciples of each hall and the Buddhist sun are qualified to cultivate this cultivation technique. Ordinary elders have difficulty accessing it. However, the previous Buddhist son of the Luli Buddhist sect was deposed for breaking precepts, and a new Buddhist son has just emerged. It is said that he is very young, perhaps you can start with him. After all, dealing with him is much better than dealing with those old monks. Currently, 2 Tao bodies are stationed near the Luli Buddhist sect, hoping to make a breakthrough there. 3 years later, a tsunami occurred in the coastal region of Tonghai Holy State, causing heavy casualties among the common people. This Buddhist son went to supersede the deceased, and your Tao body finally found an opportunity to contact him. You first observed for a while and saw that he was using the reincarnation rebirth mantra to supersede the deceased, so you stepped forward and said that this cultivation technique was too inferior and probably not suitable for supersetting the deceased. The Luli Buddhist son was somewhat displeased. This reincarnation rebirth mantra, which allows the deceased to quickly reincarnate, is one of the Luli Buddhist sect's unique techniques. How could it be so worthless in your mouth? He clasped his hands together and said, "May I ask, benefactor, what profound method do you have to impart?" You said without hesitation, "Naturally, I do. I know of a method called the Saitagarbha Suffering Relief Sutra, which is more efficient at supersetting the deceased, and for every deceased person superseded, one's cultivation can advance by a fraction." The Luli Buddhist son was amused. He said that the Saitagarbha Suffering Relief Sutra is from the renowned Black-White Academy, and he had no means of obtaining it. This was the truth. The Black-White Academy alone has 5 Beyond Realm cultivators, all of whom possess unfathomable strength. Although the Luli Buddhist sect also has a Beyond Realm cultivator, there is only one, and he is a newly ascended Beyond Realm cultivator. Their strength is far inferior to that of the Black-White Academy. At this point, you no longer concealed your identity and said that if the Luli Buddhist son wanted it, you could obtain it for him. The Luli Buddhist son was silent for a moment and asked what the price was. Seeing that he was tempted, you quickly said, "The price is actually not high, you just need to trade it for the Luli Heart Sutra." The Luli Buddhist son pondered for a long time, then finally sighed and subtly refused. The Luli Heart Sutra is a secret method of the Luli Buddhist sect that is not to be passed down. If he were to reveal it, his fate would likely be even worse than that of the previous Buddhist son. But you did not give up. Instead, you stayed by his side, persuading him that only the Saitagarbha Suffering Relief Sutra could quickly enhance his strength, urging him not to hesitate any longer. After a month of this, the Luli Buddhist son remained unmoved. You shook your head, realizing you had to go yourself. However, not long after you left, a black-clad demon rushed out, not only robbing the Luli Buddhist son of everything but also slaughtering the common people in front of him. It wasn't until you, who had not gone far, were alarmed that this brutal black-clad demon finally departed. The Luli Buddhist son looked at the deceased common people, tears flowing from his eyes. You advised the Luli Buddhist son to control his grief, stating that this world would always have evil demons and heretics, and since the Luli Buddhist son was so weak, he could only be bullied by others. The Luli Buddhist son suddenly stood up and asked, "You sent that demon, didn't you?" You frantically waved your hands, telling him not to slander you. The Luli Buddhist son sighed and said that he had thought it through and was willing to trade with you. You were very pleased to see this. Soon, you had the highest-ranking Tao body at Treasure Peak purchase the Saitagarbha Suffering Relief Sutra, worth 5 billion points, from the 10,000 Laws Pavilion of the Black-White Academy. You still had another redeemable jade token in your hand, but you wanted to keep it for yourself. So, for this Saitagarbha Suffering Relief Sutra, it was better for the Tao body to take some risk. After the Saitagarbha Suffering Relief Sutra was delivered, you and the Luli Buddhist son swore an oath of secrecy and completed the transaction. 731. Fusion of Heavenly Tao, Supreme Refining Heart. Heart Demon Realm, Tree Realm Spirit Master. After the Heavenly Devil Mind Confusion Great Art reached perfection, you were basically unafraid of most heart demons. You could even reverse control heart demons to serve your purpose and use heart demon techniques on others. From this ability, it was clearly a righteous path cultivation technique, not some evil art. It must be that evil devils and heretics feared this cultivation technique, which is why they slandered and attacked it. It must be so. After comprehending the truth, you began to perceive the changes in your mental state. Profound comprehension is the 8th level of the mental realm. Many other shore realm experts' mental realms are only at this level. Upon reaching this level, the most significant characteristic is that the mind begins to fuse with the heavenly Tao of the transcendent saint realm, allowing you to discern heavenly secrets and alter some predetermined destinies. Since the transcendent saint realm was created by transcendent, it is extremely difficult to discern heavenly secrets here. To achieve this is truly not easy. Moreover, to accomplish this purely through mental ability, without relying on external objects, is even more commendable. Besides this ability, your mind also grew increasingly powerful. In critical moments, you could even fuse with the heavenly Tao of the transcendent saint realm to evade many divine soul attacks. Even another shore realm expert would find it difficult to completely eradicate your divine soul without paying a huge price. It could be said that your life-saving ability greatly increased. Afterward, you continued your secluded cultivation, fusing cultivation techniques. This time, you added the Heavenly Devil Mind Confusion Great Art to the cultivation techniques you were fusing. While in seclusion, you continuously acquired rare treasures from Treasure Peak that increased comprehension ability, using your Tao body. The 9 orifices divine pill you obtained before was considered unremarkable in Black-White Academy. Therefore, your comprehension ability also rapidly increased. This time, you were in seclusion for a full 800 years. It was the longest period of seclusion since you ascended to the transcendent saint realm. Your basic comprehension ability increased by over 1,000 times, not inferior to another shore realm expert. And the 4 cultivation techniques were finally completely fused by you. You named the new cultivation technique the Supreme Lapis Lazuli Heart Refining Art. This cultivation technique absorbed the strengths of all, eliminated the hidden dangers of the 4 cultivation techniques, and retained their respective characteristics, making it extremely perfect. Moreover, the cultivation method of this cultivation technique was different from before. It involved entering the heart demon realm and undergoing 9 heart tribulations. Each successful attempt would greatly enhance your mental realm. At the same time, outside of your divine soul, a lapis lazuli jade wall would form, used to resist divine soul attacks. You began to sense the location of the heart demon realm. The heart demon realm was created by the ancestor of heart demons, the borderless demon emperor, in response to a calamity. It is the source of all sacrificial Tao experts' heart demon tribulations in the transcendent saint realm. Ordinary sacrificial Tao experts would dread the heart demon realm, let alone actively enter it. But you were skilled and bold, actively entering it to temper yourself. If you couldn't even handle heart demons, how could you reach the supreme mental realm second only to a transcendent? Furthermore, your supreme lapis lazuli heart refining art, fused with the heavenly devil mind confusion great art, naturally restrains heart demons, so there was nothing to fear. Cultivating the heavenly devil mind confusion great art often required capturing heart demons. Finding the location of the heart demon realm was not difficult. You quickly entered the heart demon realm using the perfected heavenly devil mind confusion great art. The heart demon realm was not structured like an ordinary world but rather resembled a beehive, where the deeper you went, the stronger the heart demons became. The outermost layer you initially entered only contained some insignificant heart demons. Of course, they were only insignificant in your eyes. If they were in the outside world, they would be enough to give most quasi-immortal emperors a hard time. You stayed there and easily passed the first heart tribulation, successfully getting started with the supreme lapis lazuli heart refining art. Over the next 3 days, you continuously passed 3 heart tribulations, cultivating it to the 4th level. After the 4th level, the heart tribulations became slightly more challenging for you. It took you a full half-month to pass the 5th heart tribulation. This heart tribulation already began to feature half-step other shore realm heart demons, causing you considerable trouble. However, after the previous cultivation, afterward, you spent a month passing the 6th heart tribulation. By this time, you had entered the border area between the inner and outer regions of the heart demon realm, where half-step other shore realm heart demons were ubiquitous. There were even many powerful heart demons that even the Starfall Sword Saint would struggle against. Going further in, you would easily encounter other shore realm heart demons. How many other shore realm heart demons there were was not recorded by Black-White Academy. But there were at least no fewer than 10. And these Bayan Shinmo were extremely strange and powerful, even other shore realm experts could easily have their Tao heart disturbed by them. Not to mention other places, there were several examples in the history of Black-White Academy alone. There were even rumors that the current Black-White Palace Master encountered the demon ancestor of Abyss of Madness in the heart demon realm, leading to a cultivation deviation, which caused his face to be half black and half white. After passing the 6th heart tribulation, you rested for 10 days before continuing deeper. Soon after entering the inner region, you quickly encountered the 7th heart tribulation. This time, there were not only over a dozen half-step other shore realm heart demons but also an incarnation of another shore realm heart demon. That other shore realm heart demon, named 7 Desires Demon Emperor, was most skilled at stirring up the 7 extreme emotions of joy, anger, sorrow, thought, grief, fear, and fright in living beings. It took you a full half-year to repel the incarnation of the 7 Desires Demon Emperor. During this process, even 3 of your lapis lazuli jade walls were shattered. Fortunately, your mental realm had reached profound comprehension, and you ultimately fused with the heavenly Tao, allowing you to break free from the 7 extreme emotions. Otherwise, you didn't know how long you would have been lost. However, after this heart tribulation, there were also great benefits. Your mental realm improved significantly again. The degree of your mind's fusion with the heavenly Tao deepened even further. Next was the 8th heart tribulation. You wondered if you would encounter the true body of another shore realm heart demon. If you did, you probably had to prepare for the worst. After a month of rest, you continued to delve deeper. After only half a day, you encountered another shore realm expert. Fortunately, this person was not a heart demon, but another shore realm expert from the transcendent saint realm. He was surprised when he saw your mind appear here. Another shore realm expert could completely see your true realm through your mind. You dared to appear here without even having passed a heart demon tribulation, truly not knowing the immensity of heaven and earth. This other shore realm expert advised you to leave quickly. Although your mental realm was not bad, your realm was too low and your divine soul too weak, leading to limited mental strength. If you encountered another shore realm heart demon, your mind could easily be extinguished. You did not leave immediately but conversed with this other shore realm expert for a long time. You learned that this other shore realm expert was named Shujia Lingzun, and he had achieved Dao during the last great calamity of destruction. The reason he came to the Heart Demon realm was to search for a junior who had become lost while undergoing a Heart Demon tribulation. 732. The inner demon on the other side, the spirit master is trapped. The soul fire of nirvana breaks the limit. You expressed your willingness to help. Although your cultivation is low, your spiritual realm is high, and even when facing Bayan Shinmo, you can resist for a while, providing him with some assistance. Of course, though you are a kind person, you won't blindly offer help. The reason you said this was, first, to gain a favor, and second, to stay by Shujia Lingzun's side and witness the power of Bayan Shinmo. Shujia Lingzun pondered for a moment, then agreed, saying that if danger arose, he would send you out of the Heart Demon realm. This was exactly what you wanted. You and Shujia Lingzun continued to go deeper. In this inner area, you easily encountered Bayan Shinmo, and even Shujia Lingzun had to be cautious. You traveled for over half a month and finally found the spiritual body of Shujia Lingzun's junior in a desolate bone ridge. At this time, his spiritual body was already riddled with holes. Even if he was brought back, he would likely be insane. Shujia Lingzun lamented. He had extraordinary talent and was originally hopeful of reaching the other shore realm, but he fell to the Heart Demon tribulation. It seems his clansmen protected him too well in daily life. However, he hadn't lamented for long when 3 demonic figures emitting other shore realm aura appeared. He, we finally waited for you. One of the demonic figures let out a strange laugh. Shujia Lingzun's expression changed. This was clearly a trap. He shouted loudly, "Little friend, quickly assist me." However, there was no response. He turned his head and saw that you had already vanished. You said you would help him, but when trouble actually arose, you ran faster than anyone. Shujia Lingzun had no choice but to fight the 3 Bayan Shinmo alone. Meanwhile, you hid in the distance, secretly observing the situation. It wasn't that you lacked integrity, but that the enemy was too powerful. You didn't want to end up like his junior. In less than half an hour, Shujia Lingzun was suppressed and seemed unable to escape in a short time. Through this great battle, you also gained an understanding of the strength of Bayan Shinmo. You definitely couldn't defeat them, but if only one Bayan Shinmo attacked you, you would most likely be able to escape. This doesn't mean you could escape from another shore realm expert. Rather, your spiritual power far surpassed your cultivation, and since you entered the Heart Demon realm as a spiritual body, the strength you displayed was far higher than your cultivation. However, it seemed it wouldn't be so easy to overcome the 8th Heart Demon tribulation. You still needed a long-term plan. So, you left the Heart Demon realm and returned to Black-White Academy. Your cultivation limited the strength of your spirit. Both were at the 8th level of profound comprehension. If the other shore realm was a sea of fire, then you were just a small flame. Though the essence was the same, the difference was like heaven and earth. And spiritual strength was directly related to divine soul power. You decided to greatly strengthen your divine soul next. You possessed the myriad spirits God-forging talent, which allowed you to use the power of sentient beings' thoughts to enhance your divine soul. Every time you had a breakthrough in a realm, your divine soul was almost always at the limit of that current realm. To strengthen your divine soul, you needed to choose another relevant cultivation technique. In the 10,000 Laws Pavilion on Treasure Peak, the strongest divine soul cultivation technique was called Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra, which could allow one's divine soul to break through its limits via nirvana. Each nirvana could double the limit of one's divine soul. One could undergo nirvana 12 times in total, extending the limit of one's divine soul by as much as 2,028 times. However, this was only a theoretical realm. In reality, the creator only underwent nirvana 10 times. But even 10 nirvanas meant over 500 times, which was still extremely considerable for you. This Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra, as the supreme secret text of the Soul Tao, required 300 billion points to exchange. It was 3 times more expensive than the profound Yellow Merit Pagoda, and generally, only other shore realm powerhouses had enough points to exchange for it. However, you still had a jade token that hadn't been used, which could come in handy. You took this jade token to the 10,000 Laws Pavilion, intending to exchange for the Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra. Unexpectedly, the elder guarding the pavilion told you that this technique was exceptionally precious. Having only the jade token was not enough, you also needed another shore realm personal token. You didn't know if the elder guarding the pavilion was deliberately making things difficult for you. You had your Tao body inquire and, upon confirming it was true, went to the Saint Yang Hall to seek an audience with Saint Yang Emperor. Saint Yang Emperor was surprised to learn that you wanted the Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra. He said this technique was very dangerous, and one could easily have their soul flying away and spirit scattering if they were not careful. The creator of the technique back then died during the 11th Nirvana. You said you were preparing for the heart demon tribulation and that you had always been prudent, so you wouldn't undergo Nirvana that many times, 4 or 5 times would be enough to satisfy you. Saint Yang Emperor nodded upon hearing this, wrote down a personal token, and had you take it to the 10,000 Laws Pavilion. You successfully exchanged for the Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra with the personal token and the Jade token. A month later, you successfully completed your first Nirvana. Your divine soul limit expanded twofold. The difficulty in cultivating the Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra lay in 2 points. One was Nirvana, and the other was strengthening soul power. Soul power would not be generated out of thin air. After strengthening it, you also had to fill in the extra limit. If one did not cultivate their divine soul to the new limit, then Nirvana had a high chance of failure. Even if one fortunately succeeded in Nirvana, the new limit would not double, which was equivalent to a wasted opportunity. This was already the accumulated experience of generations of cultivators. You had accumulated a massive amount of the power of sentient beings' thoughts in the lower realm. You could absorb it through the rift pool and the myriad spirits' godforging talent, transforming it into soul power. Your divine soul power began to continuously strengthen. A year later, your divine soul reached a new limit again, and you quickly began your second Nirvana. The Nirvana process was extremely perilous. If it were an ordinary person, they would certainly prepare meticulously to reduce the risk. But your spiritual realm far surpassed your cultivation, and your control over your divine soul was meticulous, almost never making any mistakes. So, just go for it. Another month passed, and you completed your second Nirvana. 2 years later, your divine soul power doubled, and you began your third Nirvana. After successfully completing Nirvana, you continued to strengthen your divine soul. When your divine soul power grew close to its new limit, you were astonished to find that all your existing power of sentient beings' thoughts had been used up. Although it was still being generated continuously, it clearly couldn't keep up with your consumption rate. However, you were not flustered at all. Although the power of sentient beings' thoughts was gone, your Tao body had acquired a massive amount of wealth for you on Treasure Peak over the years, which could be used to purchase a large number of treasures that enhance the divine soul. You began to consume medicinal pills and heaven and earth treasures to strengthen your divine soul. At the same time, you lamented, "It's a good thing Black-White Academy is a major power with a deep foundation. If it were an ordinary other shore realm power, there wouldn't even be enough wool for you to shear." 733. 10 times of Nirvana, the Holy Lord of Light. Bullying the honest people, the Demon Master. In the blink of an eye, 50 years passed. You successfully completed 10 Nirvanas, increasing your divine soul by 1024 times. Currently, although your cultivation realm is at the 4th level of the life and death realm, your divine soul power has already far surpassed the half-step other shore realm. With just your divine soul power, you are already invincible among half-step other shore realm cultivators. Moreover, the Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra comes with a Soul Fire Attack divine ability. 10 Starfall Sword Saints would not be enough for you to kill. In contrast, your life and death realm cultivation has become a weakness. There's nothing to be done, one can only say that the Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra is too abnormal. Your cultivation has long been able to transcend several realms, but compared to the divine soul power it enhances, it's still a drop in the bucket. In these 50 years, besides the increase in divine soul power, you also successively captured over 30 half-step other shore realm heart demons and over 1,000 high-level sacrificial Tao heart demons from the heart demon realm. You enslaved them using the heavenly devil mind confusion great art. These heart demons all have their own forces, and combined, they form a vast heart demon army, carving out a territory for you in the heart demon realm. Now, in the outer regions of the heart demon realm, you are quite renowned. You also gave yourself a resounding alias, Bright Saint Lord. After all, you enslaved heart demons to reduce their frequency of harming the common people. You are truly worthy of the title, Bright. However, perhaps because your subordinate heart demons acted too brazenly, many other heart demons in the heart demon realm harbored resentment towards you, calling you something like the heavenly demon evil lord. This is pure slander. Any heart demon who dares to call you the heavenly demon evil lord, you kill on sight. However, although you frequently entered the heart demon realm, you never attempted to undergo the 8th heart tribulation. Now that your divine soul has undergone 10 nirvanas, the time is ripe. You have a great deal of confidence in overcoming the 8th heart tribulation and can give it a try. Just as you were preparing to go into secluded cultivation to undergo the 8th heart tribulation, your Tao body, which was lurking on Treasure Peak, successively self-destructed. You frowned, and after synchronizing memories, you discovered that it was many treasures Taoist who had made a move. It turns out that over the years, your 8 Tao bodies, for the sake of the main body's cultivation, had almost emptied a third of the divine soul power treasures from Treasure Peak through various means. And many treasures Taoist's eldest disciple, Golden Wing True Lord, recently planned to assault the other shore realm and needed a large amount of treasures to enhance his divine soul. When he went to the treasury to check, he was completely stunned. Golden Wing True Lord also knew that everyone on Treasure Peak was making money. But to make money so ruthlessly still shocked him. This matter was quickly reported to many treasures Taoist. When another shore realm cultivator personally investigated, your Tao body quickly suffered. To avoid being captured, they actively self-destructed. This was also due to the significant increase in your main body's strength, otherwise, they wouldn't even have been able to self-destruct. Many treasures Taoist was enraged. He had managed Treasure Peak for many years, and this was a rare scandal. Now, he was prepared to investigate thoroughly and get to the bottom of the matter. And since you were the mastermind, it was naturally impossible for you to ignore it. If it really traced back to you, even with Saint Yang Emperor backing you, you wouldn't fare well. Moreover, for this kind of matter, Saint Yang Emperor might not necessarily back you. Everyone is making money, so why only investigate your Tao body? Isn't this bullying honest people? You gnashed your teeth in anger. Soon, you planned to flee and avoid the limelight. But many treasures Taoist activated the Black-White Academy's protective formation. No one could enter or exit until the results of the investigation were out. This presented you with a problem. You couldn't just stay put and wait for death. At this moment, you suddenly thought of your heart demon army. Heart demons come and go without a trace, they can appear directly in people's minds. Their master was in trouble, it was time for these servants to save their master. Soon, a large number of heart demons descended upon Black-White Academy, causing countless students' heart demons to erupt, revealing all sorts of ugly behaviors. Several other shore realm cultivators were furious and moved to clear them out. But these heart demons were like wildfires, unextinguishable. One batch was extinguished, and another came. You watched everything happening in Black-White Academy and sighed in your heart. You had built the heart demon army to target enemies. You never expected your own sect to be the first to suffer. You had no intention of attacking Black-White Academy, many treasures Taoist forced you to do all of this. You were not wrong, many treasures Taoist was wrong. Taking advantage of Black-White Academy's chaos, you immediately entered the heart demon realm to undergo the 8th heart tribulation. The 8th heart tribulation indeed had other shore realm heart demons. Having frequently mingled in the heart demon realm these past years, you also had some understanding of the other shore realm heart demons in the heart demon realm. There were more than a dozen other shore realm heart demons, and this one was Blood Yemoc Demon Lord, whose strength was among the lower ranks. Blood Yemoc Demon Lord was extremely aggressive, and with a single move, he plunged you into a blood sea illusion. Countless scalp-numbing corpses pulled at you, seemingly wanting to drag you into the depths of the blood sea, never to return. This was an illusion, but if one's mental state and strength were not up to par, it would be impossible to break free. If you hadn't cultivated the Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra, you would probably have suffered in it for a long time. But now, you easily broke free. Blood Yemoc Demon Lord was startled but did not give up, continuously unleashing various illusions and nightmares. Only when he had exhausted all his methods and still found it difficult to trap you did he reluctantly retreat. After overcoming the 8th heart tribulation, your mental realm greatly increased, and your mind could perfectly fuse with the heavenly Tao of the Saint realm. In terms of mental realm, you had already reached the peak of thorough profound. You were only one step away from the 9th realm, supreme. This step would require a breakthrough through the 9th heart tribulation. The 9th heart tribulation would certainly be far more difficult than the 8th. But you were not without backup. Over the years, you had improved the supreme lapis lazuli heart refining art, giving it a powerful life-saving method. That was, if your mental damage exceeded 30%, you would immediately leave the heart demon realm and return to your main body. Unless the opponent's mental realm far surpassed yours, it would be difficult to stop this. So you had nothing to fear. After resting for a month, you immediately continued deeper into the heart demon realm. A few days later, the 9th heart tribulation descended. You were surrounded by several other shore realm heart demons. Among them were your old acquaintances, 7 Desires Demon Emperor and Blood Yemoc Demon Lord. 7 Desires Demon Emperor had come in his true form this time, giving you an extremely strong sense of pressure. Besides these 2 old acquaintances, you also encountered an unexpected person, Heart Demon Saint. Heart Demon Saint was the biggest boss that Tai Divine Dipper had prophesied would appear in the Heart Demon Tribulation. His strength was also ranked high in the Heart Demon realm. You didn't expect to encounter him early in the 9th Heart Tribulation. This was good too, it would allow you to experience his strength. 734. 11 times of Nirvana, robbing the golden wings. Finally broke through, the holy light of the soul. Several Bayan Shinmo jointly attacked you, almost instantly suppressing your mind and causing your consciousness to fall into a daze. When you regained consciousness, you had already returned to your main body. It must be said that the combined power of these Bayan Shinmo is truly terrifying. You had no power to retaliate. It seems that reaching the supreme realm in your mental realm is even more difficult than you imagined. Do you have to undergo nirvana with your divine soul again to have hope? The 11th nirvana, even the cultivation technique creator failed and died, and you don't have 100% confidence. However, you also have your own advantages. That is, your mental realm has reached the peak of profound comprehension. When the cultivation technique creator died, his mental realm was only egolessness, you are one realm higher than him. You spent a month carefully studying the feasibility of nirvana. Finally, you concluded that the success rate was 90%. Although it's still relatively low and hasn't reached 100%, the path of cultivation is sometimes like this, you need to go all out. With the determination to succeed or die trying, you embarked on the 11th nirvana. A year later, you successfully underwent nirvana without any major incidents. The limit of your divine soul doubled again. This is already more than 2,000 times the original, which is quite terrifying. Moreover, your soul fire also changed. In addition to attacking, it also possesses extremely strong restorative power, 100 times stronger than before. You named this mutated soul fire Nirvana Soul Fire. Of course, this is only for recovery. To strengthen your divine soul to its limit, you still need to find other methods. The power of sentient beings' thoughts has long been insufficient. You can only find solutions from the outside world. However, the academy is currently sealed, and the only place that can meet your needs is Treasure Peak. But many treasures Taoist is now personally guarding Treasure Peak. Committing a crime at this time would be walking into a trap. But you are not without options. You thought of an excellent candidate. That is Golden Wing True Lord. He is planning to break through to the other shore realm and has a large number of treasures that enhance divine soul power. If you plunder him, you won't have to worry about your supplies. Golden Wing True Lord is currently in seclusion in his immortal cave. Although the outside world is in chaos with devil heads, it clearly doesn't affect him, someone infinitely close to the other shore. Just as he was meditating in seclusion, layers of illusion suddenly unfolded, trapping him. He used various methods but couldn't break through them. He was deeply shocked, wondering if a Bayan realm heart demon had attacked him. Golden Wing True Lord immediately fell into a state of living death. And you, without hesitation, took the opportunity to plunder all of his possessions. It must be said that this guy's family fortune is truly vast. Not only did his divine soul treasures meet your needs. Other treasures, when converted into saint crystals, exceeded 200 billion. Among them were also 5 top-tier Vault of Heaven treasures. However, you haven't touched these things for now. You also don't know if there are any special methods left by Golden Wing True Lord within these Vault of Heaven treasures. Your primary goal is to break through your mental realm and overcome the heart demon tribulation. You don't want to cause any extra trouble for now. After breaking through, you will deal with them. You continuously devoured heaven and earth treasure, and even so, it took you 5 years to strengthen your divine soul power to its limit. During these 5 years, your heart demon army suffered heavy casualties. But it doesn't matter, the heart demon realm has no shortage of pals, cough cough, heart demons. If one batch dies, you can just catch another. Anyway, in the heart demon realm, with your mental strength, you are almost equivalent to another shore. Catching heart demons is too easy. Next, you still need your heart demon army to keep working hard and buy you more time. After your divine soul power doubled, you once again entered the heart demon realm to undergo the 9th heart tribulation. Several Bayan Shinmo appeared again. This time, you lasted a bit longer than last time, losing consciousness only after an incense stick's time. After returning to recover your mental exhaustion, you entered the heart demon realm again. Currently, your divine soul is unable to undergo the 12th nirvana. Even if you did, there aren't that many treasures in the Black-White Academy to strengthen your divine soul. So, the main method moving forward is to continuously temper yourself with heart tribulations. To achieve the goal of breaking through to the supreme realm. You might be having a good time, but those few Bayan Shinmo are having a terrible time. Your heart tribulation is also recognized by the rules of heaven and earth. If they don't eradicate you, they have to keep coming to help you undergo tribulation. But they can't kill you, it's as if they're free sparring partners for you, the feeling is indescribable. Day after day, 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. In the heart demon realm, you underwent over 1,000 heart tribulations, finally allowing your own mind to break through a certain limit. A supreme and ultimate holy light of the mind was born from the depths of your consciousness. The mind is not material, and things related to the mind are formless and intangible, making them difficult to grasp. However, this holy light of the mind is an external manifestation of the mind's extreme power. It changes with the mind and gathers with the spirit. As soon as the holy light of the mind appeared, its radiance illuminated the entire heart demon realm, shocking many devil heads. This is a characteristic only found in the 9th level of the mental realm. Generally, only ancient other shores who have lived through several great tribulations possess it. Now, such an existence has actually been born in the heart demon realm. The few Bayan Shinmo who were acting as your sparring partners were directly sent flying by the holy light of the mind. At this point, they were completely unable to harm you. But they did not show signs of dejection, instead, they breathed a sigh of relief. Because this meant that you had already passed the heart tribulation, and they no longer had to be your sparring partners. In 10 years, you underwent over 1,000 heart tribulations. This means that every few days, they had to spar with you once, which tormented them terribly. Now, they are finally free. After overcoming the 9th heart tribulation and breaking through to the supreme realm in your mind, you return to your main body. With such powerful mental abilities, even an ordinary other shore would find it difficult to take your life. The crisis with many treasures Taoist had been resolved. You waved your hand, dismissing the heart demon army, and then directly triggered the heart demon tribulation. The various other shores of the Black-White Academy had just breathed a sigh of relief when they saw a powerful heart demon force descend once again. In the void realm, the anomaly of myriad world reincarnation appeared. However, this time, it was not directed at all students, but only at a specific individual. The gaze of the other shore realm pierced through the void realm, discovering that the source was actually you. Myriad world reincarnation is one of the most formidable heart demon tribulations. Saint Yang Emperor was somewhat worried, wondering how you would overcome such a powerful heart demon tribulation. But then, his gaze turned to shock, because with a wave of your hand, you shattered myriad world reincarnation. However, the power of the heart demon realm did not dissipate, an even stronger power was about to descend. This was a Bayan Shinmo. 735. Easily overcome the calamity, the 5th level of life and death. Karma, the holy land of heaven. The people present all changed color. Bayan Shinmo, even for other shore realm powerhouses, is extremely troublesome. Even a powerhouse like Black-White Palace Master almost suffered a chi deviation due to a Bayan Shinmo. And you are merely a sacrificial Tao realm. For the heart demon undergoing tribulation, a Bayan Shinmo actually descended. This is simply unheard of. Does the heavenly Tao of the transcendent saint realm truly not give you any way out? Saint Yang Emperor continuously shook his head, thinking that his latest disciple would probably perish here today. Of course, he could choose to lend a hand. But in that case, he would also be dragged into the tribulation, and even stronger heart demons would descend. No other shore would do something so thankless. Not even for his own son. Not to mention, you only joined halfway. Many treasures Taoist, on the other hand, looked at you with a hint of schadenfreude. Regarding the Starfall Sword Saint incident, you had severely disgraced him. He suspected that the theft at Treasure Peak was also related to you. It was not bad for you to fall in the heart demon undergoing tribulation now. Otherwise, he would not have let you off in the future either. Black-White Palace Master's expression remained normal, showing no emotion. No one knew what he was thinking. At the same time, in the Heart Demon realm, several Bian Shinmo who had escaped the Sea of Suffering were celebrating wildly together. They had finally escaped that pervert. 10 years, a full 10 years, do you know how they spent it? It was all tears. Heart Demon Saint was about to say a few words when his expression suddenly changed. The 7 Desires Demon Emperor beside him asked him what had happened. Heart Demon Saint smiled and said, "Nothing, just a junior undergoing tribulation. The Heavenly Tao wants me to make a move. I'll go twist his head off and bring it back for everyone as a side dish." Heart Demon Saint laughed heartily and left the table. Then, he took a step and directly entered the Transcendent Saint realm. When Heart Demon Saint appeared above the Black-White Academy, it caused gasps of surprise. This was a rather powerful existence even among Bian Shinmo. It seems you truly have no chance of survival this time. However, when Heart Demon Saint saw that the person undergoing tribulation was you, his face changed drastically, and he immediately turned to leave. You smiled and said, "Heart Demon Saint, won't you stay for a bit?" Upon hearing this, Heart Demon Saint's body trembled, and he ran even faster. Everyone was confused. What was going on? Was this Bian Shinmo here to watch the show, and not to help you undergo tribulation? After Heart Demon Saint left, the Heavenly Tao directly judged that you had passed the Heart Demon undergoing tribulation, and a large amount of Heavenly Tao feedback surged in. Your cultivation continuously increased, skyrocketing by 7 or 8 times. You broke through to Life and Death 5th layer. At this point, relying solely on your cultivation, you could be unrivaled among half-step other shore powerhouses. Not to mention, you also possessed even stronger spiritual and divine soul power. On the other side, when Heart Demon Saint returned to the table, the other Bian Shinmo jokingly teased him, "Where's the junior's head you promised? You didn't forget it, did you?" Heart Demon Saint snorted coldly, his face as uncomfortable as if he had eaten a fly. He drew a circle with his finger, revealing the scene of the Black-White Academy. He said coldly, "See for yourselves who is undergoing tribulation." When the various Bian Shinmo saw your face clearly, they were greatly shocked. "It's that pervert." No wonder Heart Demon Saint returned so quickly, he probably didn't even fight you, but was scared away directly. Blood Yemo Demon Venerable cackled strangely, "This person is indeed very troublesome, but if we let the other shore powerhouses of the Transcendent Saint realm make a move, wouldn't it be easier? These heart demons, who follow an unconventional path, focus on spiritual attacks. It is difficult for them to do anything to you, whose spiritual realm has reached the 9th layer. But if the other shore realm powerhouses of the Transcendent Saint realm were to make a move, your spiritual advantage would be greatly diminished. At that time, it might not be impossible to kill you." Several Bian Shinmo began discussing the feasibility. If they truly killed you, they could both eliminate a potential major enemy and vent their anger. With the Black-White Academy incident, you became completely famous. Many people believed that you had used some backdoor, bribing Heart Demon Saint. Or perhaps your master, Saint Young Emperor, had reached some agreement with Heart Demon Saint, allowing you to easily undergo tribulation. Regardless, surviving from the hands of a Bian Shinmo was a miracle. It was the first time in the history of the Black-White Academy. Only a few other shore powerhouses saw the clues. Heart Demon Saint seemed to be extremely wary of you. However, since you did not actively display your spiritual realm, they did not know the specific reason. Afterward, Saint Young Emperor invited you for a talk, asking you what had happened. You directly displayed your spiritual holy light, causing even Saint Young Emperor, another shore powerhouse, to show a look of horror. This was a characteristic only present when the spiritual realm reached the 9th layer, the Supreme Ease realm. His master was only at the 8th layer, profound insight, and he never expected that his disciple would reach the 9th layer, Supreme Ease. He highly suspected whether you were the reincarnation of some old monster. After returning from Saint Young Emperor, you took out the Tai Divine Dipper and began to inquire about the upcoming karma tribulation. After injecting 3 times the amount of Saint crystals from last time, the Tai Divine Dipper finally displayed a line of small characters. Your karma tribulation comes from 5 major forces, from weakest to strongest: Yuan Demon Sect, Heavenly God Academy, Celestial Tin Holy Court, Black-White Academy, and Heart Demon Realm. Upon seeing this, your brows furrowed slightly. You could understand the latter 3. But you had not had much contact with Yuan Demon Sect and Heavenly God Academy. You had only searched the soul of the crazy old man from Yuan demon sect and obtained the whereabouts of a treasure trove. In this simulation, you had even less contact with Heavenly God Academy. It was very surprising to you that these two major forces could also constitute a part of your karma tribulation. However, what surprised you even more was that the Tai Divine Dipper subsequently displayed another line of small characters. In addition, Taichu Taoist, Tai Taoist, Supreme Taoist Lord, and Heavenly Mystery Holy Land form implicit karma. The so-called implicit karma refers to tribulations that are uncertain whether they will erupt during the karma tribulation. Taichu Taoist and Supreme Taoist Lord need no further explanation. The former is related to the Taichu Divine Tablet, and the latter is related to the Supreme Forgotten Love Record. This Tai Taoist is also one of the innate five Tai, on par with Taichu Taoist, and is most likely the karma dragged out by the Tai Divine Dipper. As for this Heavenly Mystery Holy Land, you had never heard of it at all. How did you get involved in karma with it? It couldn't be the karma dragged out by the Tianji Pavilion or Tianji Old Ancestor from the lower domain, could it? To form implicit karma, the level is generally extremely high, only then can the Tai Divine Dipper not accurately calculate it. You went to the main Yongvane Peak to search for information related to Heavenly Mystery Holy Land, but you did not find any information. Therefore, you had no choice but to go and consult Saint Yang Emperor. 736. Transcend the power, take the initiative. The truth is revealed, the world's genius. Saint Yang Emperor solemnly said, this Heavenly Mystery Holy Land is no small matter, it is a force established by a transcendent. Upon hearing this, your vision went black. Damn it, you were chased by Tianji Pavilion in the lower realm. Now that you've reached the transcendent saint realm, will you be chased by the Heavenly Mystery Holy Land? However, Saint Yang Emperor's next words made you breathe a sigh of relief. He said that the Heavenly Mystery Holy Land had long since transcended worldly affairs and did not meddle in the matters of the transcendent saint realm, only when the great calamity of destruction erupted would their disciples walk the world. You thought to yourself, in that case, you should still be safe for now. Afterward, you inquired about Taichu Taoist, Tai Taoist, and Supreme Taoist Lord. An ordinary disciple asking so many questions would surely displease Saint Yang Emperor. But you were different. After learning of your spiritual realm, Saint Yang Emperor treated you as an equal and was extremely polite to you. He said that Taichu Taoist and Tai Taoist were both among the innate five Tai. The innate five Tai were the five strongest other shore realm experts in the previous great calamity. Because they were born in the same place, they called each other siblings. Everyone believed that a transcendent would emerge from the five of them. But unexpectedly, for some unknown reason, the five had an internal conflict and split up, which gave others an opportunity to achieve transcendent. You never expected such an inside story. As for Supreme Taoist Lord, because he was too ancient, Saint Yang Emperor did not know much. After learning much information from Saint Yang Emperor, you thanked him and left. Upon returning, you once again took out the Tai Divine Dipper. This time, you continuously infused primordial chi, hoping to find a way to resolve the karma great calamity. Time slowly passed, until all the excess primordial chi in your body was drained, yet the Tai Divine Dipper still did not show a solution. It drained you dry but took no responsibility. You angrily threw the Tai Divine Dipper to the ground and stomped on it twice. At this moment, the Tai Divine Dipper finally revealed 8 small characters: preempt, break them individually. Compared to the solutions given previously, this answer was quite simplistic. It could even be said to be merely a suggestion. It seemed that this karma great calamity involved too many aspects, and even the Tai Divine Dipper had no good strategy. You thought it was omnipotent, but it seems you overestimated it. The first karma you would definitely resolve was that of the Yuan demon sect. The Yuan demon sect originated from Sun Abundant Holy State. The treasury left behind before the sect's destruction was also in a remote area of Sun Abundant Holy State. You had already inquired about the location of Sun Abundant Holy State. It was more than 20 states away from Black-White Academy, and due to the long distance, you had not yet set off. Now that your strength had greatly increased and you had passed the heart demon tribulation, it was time to go and take over the treasures. Just as you were about to depart, many treasures Taoists suddenly came to your door, saying that you were involved in the Treasure Peak theft case and wanted you to return with him to Treasure Peak to cooperate with the investigation. Many treasures Taoist, due to the dispersal of the demon disaster, began to intensify the investigation into the loss of Treasure Peak's treasures. During this time, Through various clues, he traced it directly to you. There was a lot of evidence suggesting that the person who self-detonated earlier was your clone. Moreover, you specifically exchanged the Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra from the 10,000 Laws Pavilion, which required a large number of treasures to enhance the divine soul. With this evidence and deduction, he could completely take you away. However, you completely ignored him. It was Treasure Peak's business that these items were lost. You were not a member of Treasure Peak, so you had no obligation to cooperate with him. The accompanying students were startled by your attitude. In Black White Academy, no one had ever dared to speak to a other Shore Realm expert like that. Immediately, someone jumped out and angrily rebuked, "How audacious. The Peak Master himself has come, already giving you enough face. Since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame us for being merciless." "Who are you?" You slapped him, directly turning that person into a mist of blood. Many Treasures Taoist's expression was extremely ugly. Not only was your attitude towards him poor, but you also dared to kill someone in front of him, which meant you completely disregarded him. When another Shore Realm expert became enraged, the sky suddenly darkened, and all things lost their color. The next moment, streaks of light shot from the horizon, forming chains that bound towards you. You directly used your powerful divine soul power, easily breaking these chains. Many Treasures Taoist's expression slightly changed, and he sneered, "Is this your confidence?" Your divine soul power was indeed very strong, but he still had the confidence to suppress you. And your divine soul power being so strong clearly meant you had cultivated the Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra to a profound realm, giving him even more reason to suspect that you were the mastermind behind everything. Afterward, many Treasures Taoist began to get serious, fully unleashing his other Shore Realm power. Many Treasures Taoist's body was like a deep universe, and a vast and terrifying aura expanded. The other Shore Realm experts in Black White Academy were all moved. This was a sign of many Treasures Taoist going all out. Within the academy, who else was worth him going all out for? Could it be a major enemy invasion? Many Treasures Taoist formed hand seals, and various magic treasures cascaded behind him, forming a torrent of magic treasures that coalesced into a vast formation, enveloping you. To his disappointment, you showed no fear. The next instant, a pure white light erupted from your body, radiating an ancient and eternal aura, actually dispersing the grand formation. What? It's actually holy light of the mind. This scene was witnessed by the other Shore Realm experts who had just arrived. Aside from Saint Young Emperor, who already knew, the other three were inevitably greatly shocked. This was a characteristic only found in the 9th level of the spiritual realm. The difficulty was no less than ascending to the other Shore Realm. Even many other Shore Realm experts had not reached it. With such a powerful spiritual realm, your future ascent to the other Shore Realm was almost a certainty. And once you broke through, your strength would be extraordinary. Seeing your extraordinary talent, Kalpa Light Tao Ancestor felt some regret. If he had known this, he would have brought you into the secret courtyard no matter what. And many Treasures Taoist's expression was extremely ugly. You possessed such talent, let alone him only suspecting you. Even if he had conclusive evidence, he couldn't do anything to you. Indeed, after the others understood the cause and effect, they immediately stopped him. How could a mere few treasures that enhance divine soul power compare to a peerless prodigy with a 9th level spiritual realm? Moreover, you were the first sacrificial Tao person to achieve such a feat since this great calamity. The other Shore Realm experts naturally paid more attention. Seeing that he couldn't regain his face nor take you away. Many Treasures Taoist snorted coldly and flicked his sleeves, departing. Nether King of Eternal Night, who had been somewhat hostile towards you due to your young vain identity and relationship with Tianxi Saint Lord, also smiled and said that you were young and promising. However, his smile was a bit stiff, and it was unclear if it was genuine. Black White Palace Master, who was usually expressionless, also rarely showed a hint of a smile and said, "Not bad." 737. Young Palace Master, Yin Yang Corpse Lord. The Void Crossing Boat, entering the Yuan Demon Treasure House. Subsequently, at the strong insistence of the Black White Palace Master, the Black White Academy held a grand celebration for you, inviting numerous other shore forces to attend as observers. Your personality is low-key and you dislike showing off. The Black White Palace Master doing this undoubtedly carried a hint of praise to kill, meaning. You originally wanted to refuse, but when you heard that all the congratulatory gifts would be yours, you reluctantly agreed. Of course, your agreement wasn't for the sake of receiving gifts, you merely wanted to network with more people. As the saying goes, more friends make the path easier, and this would greatly benefit you. As for the risk of exposing your strength, it was merely a bit of hardship and cost. The celebration lasted for 10 days and 10 nights, with other shore forces from over a dozen surrounding saint states sending representatives, or even other shore old ancestors coming personally. Even Tianchi Saint Lord rushed to congratulate you. During this period, you received so many gifts that your hands went soft. There were dozens of top-tier rare treasures and top-tier magic treasures. Naturally, you also made many friends and other shore seniors. Towards the end of the celebration, the Black-White Palace Master even announced you as the young Palace Lord of the Black-White Academy. This was a tremendous honor. The young Palace Lord would typically only be born within the main lineage. You never expected the Black-White Palace Master to be so generous this time, directly bestowing the young Palace Lord position upon you. You were already about to undergo the Karma Great Tribulation, and now you had an additional layer of protection. The Black-White Palace Master was so enthusiastic. It always made you feel a hint of strangeness. Of course, it was also possible that you were overthinking it, and your talent had completely conquered him. However, one must be wary of others. You took out the Tai Divine Dipper to test it. Indeed, the Karma Great Tribulation displayed by the Tai Divine Dipper showed a new name, Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign. What in the world is this Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign? You had never heard of him. But just by the name, he didn't sound like a good person. After the celebration, you found Saint Yang Emperor and inquired about the origins of the Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign. Saint Yang Emperor was startled and asked how you came to know this name. You said you stumbled upon it in an ancient text. Saint Yang Emperor said that this person was a taboo in the Black-White Academy, and you should never mention him again. Other than that, Saint Yang Emperor did not elaborate further to you. You grew even more curious about the origins of this Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign. Just mentioning his name made Saint Yang Emperor, another shore realm expert, act as if facing a formidable enemy. Everything happened after the celebration, and you felt it was inextricably linked to the Black-White Palace Master. Could this young Palace Lord position be a hot potato? Indeed, there are no free lunches in the world. You felt that you might have been tricked by the Black-White Palace Master. Anyway, you now had too many debts to worry about. No matter who it was, you could only meet force with force and adapt to circumstances. Your top priority now was to obtain the Primal Devil Treasure Trove. According to the crazy old man's memories, there was a primordial spirit treasure inside. If you successfully acquired it, it would become a great killing weapon for you. However, now that you were the young Palace Lord, you couldn't leave the academy freely. You had to request permission from the Black-White Palace Master to go out. The Black-White Palace Master did not stop you. Instead, before you left, he gave you a black and white jade pendant and a jade slip. This jade pendant contained a trace of his divine thought. As long as you crushed it, no matter where you were, he could quickly rush to save you. And in this jade slip was the complete Yin and Yang sacred tome. This was a palace guarding cultivation technique that could not be exchanged for. After cultivating it, one could freely convert Yin and Yang, possessing infinite power. The Black-White Palace Master instructed you to cultivate diligently and not to disgrace the Black-White Academy. Although you outwardly agreed, you never intended to cultivate it in your heart. This old schemer had just tricked you once. The more he instructed you to do something, the less you would do it. After bidding farewell to Saint Yang Emperor again, you took out the void-crossing boundary boat and headed for Sun Abundant Holy State. This void-crossing boundary boat was a top-tier vault of heaven treasure that Tianchi Saint Lord specifically gave you at the celebration. This kind of special treasure was even more precious than ordinary top-tier vault of heaven treasures. You had already accepted his supreme forgotten love record and heavenly devil mind confusion great art, and originally didn't want to accept his gift. But you happened to be traveling to the distant Sun Abundant Holy State recently, so you reluctantly accepted it. This Tianchi Saint Lord first gave you an academy spot, then cultivation techniques, and now such a precious magic treasure. In the Transcendent Saint realm, he was the first person whose kindness towards you was like the sun. You must repay him well in the future. The void-crossing boundary boat could continuously jump through space. In the Transcendent Saint realm, generally only other shore-powerful individuals could do this. What would have originally been a journey of several years for you is now completed in just 7 or 8 days. Of course, along the way, the void-crossing boundary boat consumed an extremely terrifying amount of saint crystals, numbering in the tens of millions. But for your current net worth, it was just a drop in the bucket. Upon arriving at Sun Abundant Holy State, you put away the void crossing boundary boat. After all, this thing was too flashy and could easily reveal your identity. The next step, retrieving the treasure, needed to be low-key. The primal devil treasure trove was buried by the high-ranking members of the Yuan demon sect in a place called the Desolate Desert. That desert was formed after a great battle between several other shore realm experts. It was filled with chaotic heaven and earth rules. Any living creature would find it difficult to survive there for long. Of course, this minor impact posed no obstacle for you, a person invincible at the half-step other shore. After entering the desolate desert, you directly arrived at the location from the crazy old man's memory. Then, you used the Yuan demon sect's specific magic seal to enter a spatial node. You then used this spatial node as a starting point, continuously jumping through 12 dimensions, finally arriving in a special dimension. This dimension was filled with pure primal devil chi. And at the center of this dimension was a treasure trove protected by layers of formations. Of these formations, besides the outermost 3 layers, the rest of the inner formations could not be destroyed by force. They could only be opened with a special secret method. Otherwise, they would self-destruct. The crazy old man did not know how to open these core secret formations. He only knew the location of the treasure trove. But your basic comprehension ability was already no weaker than that of an ordinary other shore. And you also had the blessing of supreme epiphany. Cracking these encrypted formations was only a matter of time. The most difficult part for you, ironically, was the outermost 3 defensive formations. These 3 defensive formations could even withstand attacks from other shore realm experts for a while. If you wanted to break them, it would take considerable effort. When you arrived outside the formations, you suddenly discovered that there were other figures inside. The people inside also discovered you. Immediately, a massive void realm shadow appeared before you. That void realm shadow said to you, "This is the territory of my Yuan demon sect, please leave quickly, otherwise do not blame me for activating the killing formation." 738. Break the formation, the Yuanmo soul-devouring banner. Kill the other side, the second Hongmeng spiritual treasure. A mere half-step other shore realm, yet he speaks with such arrogance. You sneered and immediately began attacking the formation. To their shock, you only used a few incense sticks of time to break through the first layer of the grand formation. This formation could even withstand another shore realm for a time, yet you broke it so quickly. Could it be that you were an other shore realm powerhouse? Seeing this, the people inside accelerated their use of secret techniques to seize the treasure trove. A quarter of an hour passed, and you also broke through the remaining 2 defensive formations. But the people inside were not flustered. Because the next formation could only be broken by using a special secret technique. If you were to attack by force, it would only result in mutual destruction. However, to their renewed shock, you did not attack by force, but instead used your comprehension ability to decipher the formation. And the speed at which you deciphered the formation was even faster than their use of secret techniques. When you had broken through another 4 or 5 layers of formations and were about to catch up to them, the people inside shouted loudly, "Please stop, Senior. The contents of the treasure trove can be given to Senior, Junior only wants that primordial spirit treasure. If Senior is unwilling, then Junior can only destroy the formation, and no one will benefit." You laughed upon seeing the people inside threaten you. Subsequently, a powerful spiritual will directly penetrated the formation, dragging their minds into a bottomless abyss, causing them to stand still immediately. You broke through another layer of formation and finally arrived before these people. You performed soul searching on them. You discovered that they were indeed remnants of the Yuan demon sect. After the Yuan demon sect was annihilated, they followed the other shore realm Yuan demon Venerable into hiding. The Yuan demon Venerable was besieged by several other shore realm cultivators and suffered severe injuries. Recently, his injuries had improved somewhat, and his consciousness had cleared. He imparted the secret technique to open the primal devil treasure trove to these people, allowing them to retrieve their family's assets. They had been here for 3 days. Even with the secret technique, their breaking speed was far inferior to yours. Then, you captured them all in one fell swoop. You captured these people and searched their souls, using the special secret techniques in their minds to decipher the formation. An hour later, you broke through all the encrypted formations. You entered the treasure trove. The primal devil treasure trove was the essence of the Yuan demon sect. Although the Yuan demon sect only had one other shore realm cultivator, the Yuan demon Venerable, there were still many things in the treasure trove that made your eyes light up. Especially several top-tier rare treasures that enhanced comprehension ability, which were of no small use to you. Of course, what you valued most was definitely that primordial spirit treasure. It was a banner emitting black chi, and according to the crazy old man's memory, its name was the Yuan Magic Soul-Devouring Banner. It was something the Yuan Demon Venerable had spent a great deal of effort to forge for himself using a secret treasure he had accidentally obtained. But after it was forged, he discovered that this item was extremely prone to devouring its master. Even he, another shore realm cultivator, found it difficult to suppress. With your current strength, you wondered if you could use it normally. Devour, devour, devour. You took out the Yuan Magic Soul-Devouring Banner, and various frenzied evil thoughts emanated from within, actually wanting to devour your divine soul. You used holy light of the mind to suppress these evil thoughts. Then you frowned, realizing that you found it very difficult to refine it. Because this thing had no artifact spirit at all, only various scattered evil thoughts. It was unknown what secret treasure the Yuan Demon Venerable had used to refine such an evil object in the first place. You saw that the soul-devouring banner had a strong desire to devour divine souls, so you gave it the few people you had just captured to devour. At this, the evil thoughts inside immediately quieted down considerably and were willing to cooperate with you. Those few were all half-step other shore realm cultivators, which was why such an effect was achieved. If they were ordinary cultivators, it was unknown how many would need to be devoured. You instantly felt your scalp tingle. If you really used this thing, wouldn't you become an evil cultivator reviled by everyone? No, you couldn't do that. Your conscience wouldn't allow it. It seemed this primordial spirit treasure was not fated for you and could only be temporarily sealed away. However, a flash of inspiration struck you, and you quickly thought of a good solution. That was to use the heart demons from the heart demon realm to feed the Yuan Magic Soul-Devouring Banner. This way, you could both eliminate demons and defend the Tao, and tame the evil thoughts, killing two birds with one stone. You acted immediately, and you quickly took the Yuan Magic Soul-Devouring Banner to the heart demon realm for a sweep. After devouring hundreds of millions of heart demons, you returned to the transcendent saint realm. Seeing you, its new master, being so generous, the evil thoughts were also very cooperative and no longer devoured their master, allowing you to use it for a period of time. With the primal devil treasure trove in hand, you did not intend to leave Sun Abundant Holy State immediately. Because you still had a great enemy to deal with, and that was the Yuan Demon Venerable. You had stolen the primal devil treasure trove, and he would certainly not let you off. He was currently severely injured, and you definitely had to take advantage of his weakness to finish him off. You quickly found the Yuan Demon Venerable's hiding place based on the memories of those few people earlier. This was a desolate mountain range. The Yuan Demon Venerable was hidden beneath the mountain range, and in addition to him, there were hundreds of Yuan Demon sect remnants. You arrived here and suddenly launched an attack, wiping out all the Yuan Demon sect remnants. The Yuan Demon Venerable was startled awake. He tried to escape but was trapped by you using the Yuan Magic Soul-Devouring Banner. Seeing you so easily subdue the primordial spirit treasure he had painstakingly forged, the Yuan Demon Venerable felt very uncomfortable. Then you unleashed holy light of the mind, wanting to forcibly grind him, who was severely injured, into oblivion. Upon seeing this, the Yuan Demon Venerable directly performed corpse dissolution. Other shore realm powerhouses have already transcended life and death. Even if their physical body dies, they will revive in the timeline they occupy. Only the great calamity of destruction could threaten their existence. Rather than being ground into oblivion by you, it was better to actively perform corpse dissolution, so he could choose his own revival point in time. Seeing the Yuan Demon Venerable die by corpse dissolution, you had quietly accomplished a great feat. After the Yuan Demon Venerable's death, his storage world remained behind. It contained his many years of treasured collections, whose value even surpassed that of the primal devil treasure trove. Especially his life-bound treasure, the Yuan Demon Blade. This was also a primordial spirit treasure. However, you could not use this item. Because the Yuan Demon Venerable had not truly died. From the perspective of another shore realm cultivator, he had only temporarily disappeared from this timeline and would return one day. Therefore, the Yuan Demon Blade could not submit to you. Of course, if you were to suppress it with strength far surpassing the Yuan Demon Venerable, that would be another matter. But for now, you were still unable to do so. You sealed the Yuan demon blade. In the short term, the Yuan demon Venerable could not pose a threat to you. In this karma great calamity, he should not be able to affect you. The karma regarding the Yuan demon sect was temporarily settled. Next, it was the karma of the Heavenly God Academy. However, the Heavenly God Academy had 3 other shore realm cultivators. And all of them were in their peak condition, unlike the severely injured Yuan demon Venerable. To deal with the Heavenly God Academy, you still needed to plan carefully. 739. Surveillance Academy, the 12th Nirvana. The soul is immortal, opening up the dragon vein. You first spent some time traveling to the Great Hong Saint State, where the Heavenly God Academy is located. Then, you had 2 Tao bodies quietly replace 2 disciples, infiltrating the Heavenly God Academy to monitor all movements. The karma great calamity has no definite time of outbreak. However, only by overcoming all karma can one be considered successful. If you do not actively face the calamity, it is possible to drag it out until the great calamity of destruction arrives. But the karma of the Heavenly God Academy should not drag on for so long. Because this matter is definitely related to the Taichu Divine Tablet. According to the time of the last simulation, the Heavenly God Academy head will soon begin searching. It probably won't be long before he traces it back to you. You cannot do anything to the Heavenly God Academy right now, so you can only monitor its movements and adapt as necessary. Afterward, you collected some information about the Heavenly God Academy in the Great Hong Saint State before returning to the Black-White Academy. It must be said that this void-crossing boundary boat is indeed convenient. It saved you a lot of travel time. You couldn't help but sigh that Tianxi Saint Lord is indeed a kind person. However, the Celestial Tin Holy Court is also part of your karma great calamity. Will Tianxi Saint Lord make a move against you? You think this possibility is relatively small. After all, the Tai Divine Dipper showed the Celestial Tin Holy Court, not Tianxi Saint Lord. And the Celestial Tin Holy Court's influence is complex and intertwined. It is not yet certain who will become your great calamity. After returning to the Black-White Academy, you began to ponder how to perform the 12th nirvana of your divine soul. Although your current divine soul power is not weak, there is still a considerable gap if you want to contend with the beyond. You mainly rely on your mind realm. If you can undergo the 12th nirvana, your divine soul power is estimated to be no weaker than the divine soul of an ordinary beyond. Most likely, you will gain a new beyond characteristic. You will naturally have more confidence in dealing with the karma great calamity. You began to seclude yourself to research the feasibility of the 12th nirvana. As your divine soul power greatly increased, your comprehension ability also rose accordingly. In just one short month, you completely perfected the 12th nirvana method of the Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra. The success rate was as high as 90%, just like last time. You were not satisfied and continued to improve it. Your current time is not as urgent as before, allowing you to make the method even more perfect. A year later, you perfected the method to a success rate of 99%. It is extremely difficult to go further. Therefore, you no longer hesitated and began the 12th nirvana. 3 years later, you successfully completed nirvana. Your divine soul radiated billions of rays of light, and the beyond golden lotus gathered into a platform, supporting your divine soul as it pierced through layers of obstacles and flew towards the depths of time and space. The time and space of the transcendent saint realm are difficult for those below beyond to access. Now, with a divine soul comparable to beyond, you can finally roam freely. Of course, this is limited to the current calamity. Wanting to cross over the evil chi of the great calamity of destruction is not something an ordinary beyond can do. While roaming, your divine soul left traces wherever it passed. These are the timelines occupied by your divine soul, which can serve as places of resurrection. This is a new beyond characteristic, divine soul immortality. If you can also achieve physical body immortality, even if you haven't ascended to beyond, you would be an anomalous beyond. Of course, achieving this step is not much easier than divine soul immortality. Just as you completed nirvana, several beyond powerhouses of the Black-White Academy all sensed it. Saint Yang Emperor smiled slightly. Kalpa-Light Tao Ancestor directly called you a prodigy. Nether King of Eternal Night, however, looked in the direction of Treasure Peak and chuckled. This time, someone else is going to have a headache. Many treasures Taoist indeed had a headache. Your mind realm was already extremely troublesome, and now there's divine soul immortality. It seems it will be a long time before he can get his revenge. Black-White Palace Master muttered expressionlessly, it seems that matter needs to be expedited. After roaming in time and space for a while, your divine soul returned to your main body. The time and space of the transcendent saint realm are very different from the lower realms. Here, time and space are not presented in the form of a long river of history. Instead, they exist as individual time nodes. These time nodes are major historical events. Of course, this time node is also relative. The transcendent saint realm has its own super large time nodes, and smaller places also have their own small time nodes. Countless dense time nodes form the past time and space of the transcendent saint realm. As for the future, the transcendent saint realm only has past time nodes, and no present or future time nodes. In other words, no one knows what the future of the transcendent world will be like. All methods like heavenly secrets and karma can only make deductions. This may be because the transcendent saint realm was created by transcendent. It possesses certain transcendent characteristics. It will not display future scenes. For you, it is impossible to cheat by using a future self, as you could in the lower realms, in the transcendent saint realm. After you came out of seclusion, you were somewhat surprised to learn that Tianxi Saint Lord had looked for you during your nirvana. This was the first time he had actively sought you out since you joined the Black-White Academy. You are currently in the midst of the karma great calamity, and you are undoubtedly very sensitive to such news. You immediately went to the Celestial Tin Holy Court to inquire about the reason. Tianxi Saint Lord said that the reason he looked for you was that he had a favor to ask. Your heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the karma of the Celestial Tin Holy Court has arrived? You calmly asked what it was. Tianxi Saint Lord said, I plan to open up a dragon vein in the Tianxi Holy State to suppress the luck of the human race, but there is a large amount of evil chi where the dragon vein will be opened. Your mind realm is astonishing, so I would like to ask you to help me clear this evil chi. Of course, the remuneration will certainly not be small. This is just a small effort, I believe you will not refuse, right? This guy was so enthusiastic before, and sure enough, he had an ulterior motive. Removing some evil chi was indeed a small effort for you. But the question is, can this dragon vein be opened up at will? Will other alien races in the Tianxi Holy State not obstruct it? The Black-White Academy has several Beyonds who are already dissatisfied with Tianxi Saint Lord. If you help him open up the dragon vein, wouldn't that mean you are siding with him? However, Tianxi Saint Lord has shown you great kindness. Moreover, doing so would be of immense benefit to the human race, and you are also a member of the human race, so it seems there is no reason to refuse. You pondered for a moment and asked, the dragon vein must require considerable material resources. How does Tianxi Saint Lord plan to open it up? Tianxi Saint Lord said it was simple, he planned to mobilize billions of people, move mountains and overturn seas, and change the terrain. 740. Juku Tower, Saving the Tree Lord. The origin of the corpse lord, the nirvana of the flesh. So, you want to make the common people suffer. Now that your conscience can't bear it, you can finally refuse honorably. You said that as the young palace lord of the Black-White Academy, your every action represents the interests of the Black-White Academy. You need to go back and discuss it with the Black-White Palace Master before making a decision. The Tianxi Saint Lord was somewhat displeased, but what you said was without any problem. However, your attitude already showed that you did not want to get involved in this matter. The Tianxi Saint Lord said coldly, all right, then you go back and discuss it. Leaving the Celestial Tin Holy Court, you found the Black-White Palace Master. The Black-White Palace Master said that he was just about to discuss this matter in detail with you. The Tianxi Saint Lord wanted to establish a human race dragon vein, which other foreign races would never agree to, and this would inevitably lead to disaster. Fortunately, you did not agree immediately, otherwise it would have been troublesome. You said that you only wanted all races to coexist harmoniously and did not want to resort to war, so you would definitely not agree to the Tianxi Saint Lord's request. The Black-White Palace Master nodded and said that your hard nature was rare, and if you could become the dominator of the Celestial Tin Holy Court, other races would be blessed. This time, facing praise, you uncharacteristically did not act humble. You are greatly virtuous and benevolent, you still had this much confidence. On the Tianxi Saint Lord's side, you personally went to politely refuse. You said that the Black-White Palace Master did not want you to get involved in the grievances among the various races in the Tianxi Holy State. Before you left, the Tianxi Saint Lord snorted coldly, don't think that becoming the young palace lord means you can rest easy. That black-white palace master is not a good person either. I hope you look out for yourself. You were startled to hear this. Did the Tianxi Saint Lord know some inside information? You left the Celestial Tin Holy Court with a deep frown. After returning, you intensified your search for information related to the Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign. However, you still found nothing. But you heard that in the nearby Lingyun Saint State, there was a force called Nine Ben's Pavilion, which claimed to be able to buy and sell any intelligence. You sent a Dao body to conduct the transaction. Upon arrival, a black-clothed person wearing a white mask received you. He said that Nine Ben's Pavilion did not have relevant intelligence, but could find a seller for you. Of course, Nine Ben's Pavilion would not search for you for free, they would charge a fee of 1 billion Saint Crystals. Regardless of whether the transaction succeeded or not, this money would not be refunded to you. 1 billion Saint Crystals was not a small sum. After your Dao body sought instructions from your main body, you paid the money. 3 months later, the people from Nine Ben's Pavilion found you again and said they had found a seller for you. You met the other party in a secret room. The other party was actually a rare tree spirit. It said that if you wanted to obtain information about the Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign, you must agree to one of its requests, which was to rescue the Shujia Lingzun who was trapped in the Heart Demon realm. This matter was extraordinarily difficult, and even ordinary other shores would not easily agree to it. But for you, it was not difficult. You agreed. After making a heavenly Dao oath, you went to the Heart Demon realm. Your Heart Demon army had already scouted the location where the Shujia Lingzun was trapped. The tree realm is a place rich in heaven and earth treasure. You originally intended to rescue him and obtain a batch of divine medicines that could increase comprehension ability. Now, you could also get information about the Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign, which was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You arrived at the place where the Shujia Lingzun was trapped, and the other 3 Bayan Shinmo were greatly alarmed when they saw you. Your reputation had already resounded throughout the Heart Demon realm. It was impossible for them not to be nervous. While battling the 3 Bayan Shinmo, you awakened the sleeping Shujia Lingzun. The Shujia Lingzun saw your strength had progressed so much that he thought he had been asleep for hundreds of millions of years. However, the flowing time told him that he had only been asleep for less than 100 years. You said to the Shujia Lingzun that you came to rescue him, your old friend, so shouldn't he show some appreciation? The Shujia Lingzun said that as long as you could rescue him, he would give you all the divine medicines on him. You worked even harder upon hearing this. An hour later, you finally drove away the 3 Bayan Shinmo. After the Shujia Lingzun was freed, he fulfilled his promise, and you gained a lot. When he left the Heart Demon realm and returned, he realized that it was his clansman who had asked you for help. You even collected a second payment from him, making his face as black as the bottom of a pot. You comforted the Shujia Lingzun, saying that these were all external possessions, how could they be as important as one's own life? You told him to be more open-minded. The Shujia Lingzun snorted coldly and returned to the tree realm to heal his injuries. And his clansman, according to the agreement, gave you the intelligence. This Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign has an extraordinary origin. He ascended to the other shore with his corpse and was once an overlord of the Corpse Demon realm. Later, for unknown reasons, he left the Corpse Demon realm and came to the Transcendent Saint realm, establishing the Yin-Yang Magic Palace. The Yin-Yang Magic Palace was the predecessor of the Black-White Academy. Among the 5 other shores of the Academy today, except for the Kalpalite Dao ancestor who joined halfway, the other 4 were all disciples of the Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign. However, later, for unknown reasons, they turned against each other. The 4 disciples joined forces and killed the Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign, causing him to fall into a deep sleep. Then they changed the Yin-Yang Magic Palace to the Black-White Academy and erased all information about the Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign in the Transcendent Saint realm. The Poo Demon Tree King of the Tree Realm was once commanded by the Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign for a period of time. After the Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign was slain, he hid back in the Tree Realm, preserving this past information. According to the intelligence, the Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign had fallen into a deep sleep and had not yet revived. Then why did his name appear in your karma tribulation? You were very puzzled, but you had to prepare for it. Other shores are divided into ordinary other shores, ancient ones, most ancient one, and perfect other shore, according to the length of the timeline they occupy. The intelligence stated that the Yin-Yang Corpse Sovereign was another shore close to the ancient ones. Your pressure was still quite immense. The best way to prevent it is definitely to increase your strength. Your divine soul is currently no weaker than an ordinary other shore. If you could strengthen your physical body to that extent as well, you would have much more confidence. It is not entirely impossible to achieve this. That is to make your physical body undergo nirvana, just like your divine soul. As long as the number of nirvanas is sufficient, your physical body will eventually reach the same height as your divine soul. Next, you plan to create a similar cultivation technique for your physical body, based on the Nirvana Soul Fire Sutra. However, this difficulty was not small, even harder than divine soul nirvana. Because the physical body is restricted by the heavenly Tao of the transcendent saint realm. For sacrificial Tao, it can almost only be strengthened by undergoing tribulation. If physical body nirvana were truly that easy, a large number of related cultivation techniques would have already emerged on the market. But, you still had a certain degree of confidence. Because you worked harder than others, you believed that you could overcome all difficulties by yourself.